You're listening to a production of SportsLink Digital Radio.
It is a rainy afternoon from Muncie, Indiana on this Saturday, February the 8th. The Ball State Cardinals getting ready to hold a host to the visiting Southern Miss Golden Eagles in this rendition of the MAC Sun Belt Conference Challenge. I'm AJ Swiatek, joined this afternoon by Roen and Elbert. I think I speak for the both of us when I say we appreciate you opting to spend your time by welcoming us into your living room or wherever you're tuning in, as it is a big-time matchup for either side to see where they stack up with a non-conference foe this deep into the season.
And nothing better than a Saturday afternoon here at Worthen Arena. It is a packed house today, and we're going to find out today who is going home with the belt.
That we will. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for either side in numerical order. Starting with the visiting Golden Eagles, who rock their black jerseys with yellow trim and white numerals. It is the typical group with DeAnthony Gordon, the 6'7" graduate forward who sports number 1. Headlining the lineup, he'll be joined alongside Christian Watson and Denijay Harris down low. The two guards, the typical look, Andre Curbelo and Neftali Alvarez. On the other side for the Cardinals, it's yet another game of playing numbers 1 through 5. They keep it simple. Number 1, Fat Hill. Number 2, Ethan Britton Watts. Number 3, Mickey Pearson Jr. Number 4, Juan C. Gorosito, who has his parents in attendance this afternoon all the way from Argentina. And Peyton Sparks, the reigning MAC player of the week, rounds out the starting 5. Roen starting with the visitor. Both teams, of course, going with their typical looks, but these teams match up against one another in a very interesting way. When you look at Southern Miss, who are they going to have to turn to, and what are they going to have to do to get a big road win done?
For me, you could look at Denijay Harris. What he's done this year for Southern Miss has been outstanding. Coming from Arkansas, spent his first 3 years here with the Golden Eagles, transfers to Arkansas for 1 year. Now he's back having a career year. Very similar to Peyton Sparks, who was here for 2 years at Ball State, transfers to IU for a year, now back with the Cardinals. I love that matchup. However, with the Golden Eagles, it's going to come down to the guard play, and specifically two guys. I'm looking at Andre Curbelo and Neftali Alvarez. These two guys, although they can play off ball a little bit, they are such great playmakers. Play through them, get them driving lanes, and that will be the recipe to success for the Golden Eagles.
And those two really give you a great look inside the roster makeup for this visiting squad coming all the way from Southern Mississippi. There are 14 upperclassmen on this team. Every single one of them a transfer. Curbelo and Alvarez no different, as everyone remembers Curbelo for his time with U of I, also spent time at St. John's. Alvarez came from Mercer. Denijay Harris, a transfer from Arkansas. For Southern Miss, it's a lot of talent, but it's about gluing things together. Ball State a little bit different. This is a group that's grown mighty familiar with one another. I know you already highlighted the matchup down low that eyes will be on between Sparks and Harris, but outside of that, who needs to get it going for the squad rocking their gray uniforms with red numerals and lettering?
You mentioned it earlier, his parents in attendance. I'm looking at Juan C. Gorosito. He's been struggling a little bit. Last 2 games, 0 points. Gorosito, one of the best sharpshooters in the entire MAC. If you can get him going, oh boy, Ball State can be a dangerous team today.
And with Juan C. Gorosito, you can't just look at what he's done as of late. You have to look at the entire sample size. And simply put, 40% from deep is an elite metric. It puts him in special company in the country. He's seen an uptick in his play time as the season's gone by. And Coach Lewis will be the first to tell you the Cardinals really rely on him, whether it be win or lose, depending on if he's got that stroke going. This team can take down anyone in the conference, but if he's shooting 0 for 5 like they did in their last outing, it leads to a loss like it did against the Zips.
Yeah, and I think the main thing for Gorosito is just keep getting the ball in his hands. And another thing I do like about this starting lineup, Ethan Britton Watts, he's been in and out of the lineup, but the spark he can provide any given night, it truly makes this Ball State team a little bit more special.
The lights turn on in Worthen. It's the Cardinals going left to right. And the Golden Eagles right to left. Sparks and Gordon on the beak of Charlie Cardinal, ready to tip off with 20 fresh minutes on the clock. We're underway. Sparks wins it. It ends up in the palms of Ethan Britton Watts. Was able to easily dribble beyond the timeline. Quick bouncing give to Gorosito, who feeds right back to number 2 on the wing. Trying to push the ball down low was Mickey Pearson. It's a quick turnover. He couldn't find Peyton Sparks. Denijay Harris takes it the other way. Good movement from the Eagles. All 5 touched the ball a mere 8 seconds into the shot clock. Christian Watson currently with it at the top of the key. He's going to work on Fat Hill. Leaves a back pass for Curbelo, who dishes near side to DeAnthony Gordon. Left his jumper long, but the offensive board winds up with Harris. Now he's stolen by Peyton Sparks, trying to force a bouncer into DeAnthony Gordon.
Yeah, back-to-back turnovers from the 2 bigs we highlighted in Harris and Sparks. This is going to be a fun matchup.
Gorosito, deep 3. Oh, just off the mark, hit back iron, but a fortunate Cardinal hop has the ball wind up with Fat Hill after the Ethan Britton Watts rebound. Now they'll feed Sparks down low. This is the matchup the Cardinals want to take advantage of early. He dishes back outside. Hill for 3, air ball. And the Eagles will simply watch it sputter out of play. So the score remains at donuts with 18:50 to play. Not much offense to speak of early, Roen.
No, not at all. But the main thing with Jamari Hill, that 3-point shot, you just really don't see that too often from him. But that's a side of his game, even though it wasn't the right result there, I want to kind of see more of.
Andre Curbelo with it on the near side corner. He works on Ethan Britton Watts. Now through a screen. What a nifty move. Couldn't finish. Tip back, no good. It's a 3rd try now for Southern Miss. Over the head pass goes from 12 to 1, and it's buried. Call it an Alvarez assist. And a DeAnthony Gordon start to the scoring. It's 2-0 Golden Eagles.
Yeah, and that play is not possible without Andre Curbelo. Again, these guards, if they have driving lanes, they're going to be super dangerous down low, especially with their eye for playmaking.
Fat Hill cuts to the rack and finishes off the window. We're knotted up at 2s with 18 and change to go here in the first half.
And that's what I like about this matchup. Both guards on either side, they know that the highest percentage look is going to be down low, and they need to drive to get it.
Harris tries a deep 2 from just inside the arc, well off the mark, and the rebound comes with Fat Hill. He's on the left side wing, leaves it for Gorosito. Swing far side now with Ethan Britton Watts between the circles. Peyton Sparks down low, looks to back down his defender from right to left. Reverse lay-in, no good. Offensive board, Mickey Pearson, who's fouled on the way up, and the exact guy you want to send to the line, the second best charity stripe shooter for the Cards at an 83% mark on the season, has a chance to give Ball State their first lead of the day, call it a 2-2 tie with 17:33 to go in the first half.
And I really like that effort from Peyton Sparks, going up and under, and that was a key for Peyton going into this matchup. When you got a guy like Denijay Harris on you, or DeAnthony Gordon as Pearson gets the first free throw to fall, you got to be kind of outside of your comfort zone. These are very athletic bigs. Sparks more of a physical bruiser type of big, and he definitely went deep into his bag with that move.
A great second effort from Mickey Pearson to corral the offensive board. Leads to 2. He's perfect from the line, so call it a 4-2 lead in favor of the hometown Cardinals, who now set up on the left side of the court on defense. Watching Andre Curbelo survey his options. He's running the floor early. He gives off to Alvarez. Back up top with Gordon. Perfectly centered on the key. He'll leave for Curbelo, who steps back and passes off to Alvarez as the team has a hard time infiltrating this 3-point line. They'll try from deep. Gordon rattles it out. Looked like it had the right release, just not the right spin. So with just over 17 to go, it's Cardinals 4-2 with the basketball. Fat Hill gives near side corner to Pearson, who skips one inside to Sparks. Right back out to Mickey. Headshot Mick. Leaves it short. Cardinals up by 2. Transition play and throwing it down. It's Christian Watson. He got behind the entire defense. And not to be mistaken with the Packers wide receiver, Christian Watson, but how about that athleticism? He had bunny hops on the way to the rack.
Yeah, the former Miami Hurricane making it look easy. Formerly the top recruit in Washington, D.C. coming out of high school. You know he has that untapped potential.
Uh-oh, Curbelo, steal, back-to-back slams, but he misses. Got a little bit too fancy, and Gorosito pushes the other way. Full head of steam. Pull-up jumper. Yes! 6-4 Cardinals lead after Curbelo had a chance to flip that score, but did too much on the dunk. What looked to be back-to-back crushers for the Cards pays off for them in a big way.
And what I like what Ball State is doing is Southern Miss, they're playing fast, but the Cardinals, they know they don't have to match it. They just need to contain it.
Well, they are playing fast. Couldn't contain it there. Curbelo down low, dishes outside to the left side wing. And that is where an open Alvarez gets his first 3 points of the contest. So the Eagles lead at 7-6 in a back-and-forth matchup early with 15:40 to go in the first frame. Ethan Britton Watts being guarded tightly by Alvarez, who is ready to sprint the other way, but will be called for the reach-in. A bit of a late whistle that he doesn't agree with will lead us to our first media timeout. Roen, lots of action early.
Yeah, with Alvarez and Curbelo picking pockets all day, this is what the recipe to success is for Southern Miss, especially looking at the turnover numbers for Ball State on the year and really for both teams. The Cardinals averaging around 12 turnovers per game. If you can force them to turn this ball over, especially up front between the rings, that is going to be a recipe for disaster for Ball State.
Just about 5 minutes into this contest, the youngest player who has seen the floor, a junior in Fat Hill. Other than that, 3 seniors and all graduate students. It's experience on either side that has led the Golden Eagles to a 7-6 lead with 15:37 to go in half number 1. I'm AJ Swiatek, joined by Roen Elbert. We'll be back in just a moment here on SportsLink Digital Radio, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
American Pest Pros is the official pest control partner of Ball State Athletics. We protect your home or business and guarantee year-round protection from insects and pests. Ask about our Ball State special, available to all Cardinal fans. Our pest control program is the safest and most effective in the industry. Even if you tried a different service and it didn't work, we'll fix your problem, guaranteed, or your money back. Visit AmericanPestPros.com. That's AmericanPestPros.com. And don't forget to ask about our Ball State special.
Ball State fans, who needs batteries? Your locally owned Battery Masters have batteries for cars, boats, golf carts, cell phones, watches, key fobs, Papergo toys for kids, and more. Bring your rechargeable batteries back to life for drills, shavers, dustbusters, and more. All Ball State fans receive a free battery checkup. Just mention Charlie Cardinal. Battery Masters is conveniently located on the corner of Walnut and Centennial, next to Mini Trista. Check us out online at batterymasters.com. Go Cards!
Welcome back inside Worthen Arena. I'm AJ Swiatek, feeling very fortunate to be dry. The rain continues to pour down atop the nest. Shots have been falling from beyond the arc as well. It's a 7-6 lead in favor of Southern Miss. Comes on the road to honor the MAC Sun Belt Challenge. For those who missed it, it was Neftali Alvarez called for the reach-in that sent us to the media break. So Ball State starts off with possession of the Rockets. Fat Hill at the top of the key. Euro steps inside. Contested jumper. Wow. That's pure talent from number 1. He rose above the 6'6" guard in Christian Watson. That's about as tough of a look as you'll see, but Hill almost seems to play better when there's pressure in his face.
Yeah, and if you're head coach Jay Ladner at Southern Miss, I mean, you can't be too frustrated. Good D, better O. Fat Hill, tough take.
Southern Miss wanted to give the Cardinals a taste of their own medicine, but couldn't. It was a contested look from Denijay Harris off the mark. But as Ball State going the other way, Wansi tries to force a bouncer into Sparks. It's kicked on the way there by Christian Watson. The Ball State will reset their offense as Fat Hill, just in front of the timeline, is set to do the inbound for his squad.
I actually really do like that look for Wansi Gorosio. Got Sparks on a cut, a little pick and roll action, just grazing the leg of a Golden Eagle.
Goes from Britton Watts inside to a spinning Sparks. He's too strong on his put-up, but Mason Jones gets the board and is fouled on his way up with a smart pump fake that got a couple of Eagles jumping. Be interesting to see who they ultimately call this foul on. Looks like it's going to come against DeAnthony Gordon. Good news for the Cardinals. That is not who you want to see. It's his first personal foul. The Eagles' third, as Curbelo and Alvarez both have a foul apiece. So with the Cardinals up 8-7 and 14:56 to go in half number 1, Mason Jones, the 6'4" free throw shooter on the season, moves to 7 for 12. The make on his first try that subs out Juancy Gorosito and Peyton Sparks in favor of a couple new faces, Ben Hendricks and Jeremiah Hernandez.
And that's the benefit of having Mason Jones on the floor, that physicality to get that offensive board. And it's in his DNA as he misses that free throw with his father playing at Notre Dame in football, his brother Cooper currently playing at IU in football. It runs in his DNA, that physicality that he leashes out on the basketball court.
Helps tally a point for the Cards. They lead at 9-7. A stepping back Curbelo tries to slam one inside the paint. The underhanded pass never really had an option to get to Christian Reed, who subbed in during those free throws, but fortunately for him, it went off of the shoe of a Cardinals big man. So on the near baseline, Christian Watson inbounds. He gets it right back. Set up the offense with a mismatch. He's got Ben Hendricks on him up top, decides to pull up, but misses well right. And Jeremiah Hernandez is fouled over the back by Christian Reed of the Golden Eagles, which quickly puts Southern Miss up to 4 fouls as opposed to Ball State 0. They played a very clean game to help them to a 9-7 lead with just under 14:30 to go in half number 1. Hendricks possesses it on the right wing. He'll leave for Jones, who quickly dishes to Hernandez. Everyone touching the Rockets. Fat Hill getting shifty. Wanted to step back, thought about it, instead passed off to Watts. Open man in the corner, Hernandez hesitated, opts not to shoot on the far side. Instead, he gives up to Jones, who wants to get things inside, but goes back to Hernandez. Back to Jones. They're playing give and go. He'll have to pull up as the buzzer sounds. He can't get it to go. Really good defensive possession from the black and yellow.
And that's what you got to do. You got to force these Cardinals to play the perimeter more often and play towards the end of the shot clock.
Neftali Alvarez tried one from well beyond National Basketball Association range. It missed, but Fat Hill tried to get a little too fancy. It ultimately winds up being sloppy, as in transition he wanted to be the signal caller and fling one to the far side where a sprinting Jeremiah Hernandez stood. It gives Southern Miss a chance to make some substitutions. In for the first time, Alfred Worrell Jr., the 6'4", 208 guard from Washington, D.C.
And then you also have Joey Hart checking in for Ethan Britton Watts. And what I have to say with Joey Hart, as the season has progressed, I have liked the way he's really blended into this Ball State team off of the bench, serving as a great sharpshooter, but also a pretty solid defensive presence on the perimeter.
The Eagles have no problem getting past the timeline. Near side, it's John Wade III. He passes to the far corner. Open man Worrell Jr. was left on an island but couldn't hit. Cardinals lead 9-7 as both side shots are going cold. Fat Hill drives inside the key. He wants to take it to the rack himself. 4 Golden Eagles around him, just barely couldn't flush it home. And now Southern Miss has the numbers the other way. 5-on-4 rush. Quick near side corner jumper. Got it. Kobe Montgomery, the graduate guard, a transfer from Triton College, with a man in his mouth, makes it 10-9 Eagles with under 13 to go in half number 1.
Yeah, 43% three-point shooter. I can't say I'm surprised. When you have a guy like that, those corner threes, those all of a sudden become much more high percentage looks.
Fat Hill again couldn't get it to go through contest down low. Southern Miss looks to capitalize, but Hernandez with a really nice hustle play. The ball will stay in possession of the Golden Eagles. On the far side, Jeremiah, sporting number 33, was able to rip it from John Wade III, but ultimately wound up sliding out of play in possession of the pebbled stone. It's 10-9 Golden Eagles on the road here from John E. Worthen Arena. 12:39 to play in half number 1. It's been a defensive battle that sees Wade possessing it and being signaled for an offensive foul. Moving screen on Christian Reed, and 6th-year head coach Jay Ladner is irate, letting the officiating crew hear it. That's his team's 5th personal foul to Ball State 0, and it will quickly lead to Reed subbing out for Deontay Gordon, who really had a very short breather.
Yeah, and Fat Hill for Ball State on the last substitution, he got a breather. Coming in for him is Juancy Gorosito, and I like this for the Cardinals. Fat Hill has been playing very physical, which he always is, but even more so today. A lot of drives to the cup where he is surrounded by a sea of black and gold, and he is getting hacked today.
So he takes a seat on the bench as Gorosito gives to Sparks. You never want him carrying it that far beyond the arc. So the Cardinals waste their first 12 on the shot clock as Spark is trapped. He's able to find the open man through the double team. Left all alone was Joey Hart in the corner. He couldn't finish, and the defensive board is ultimately fought out of bounds. John Wade was able to corral it, but a really good effort from Mason Jones. I don't know how he was able to do that. He got his right hand in there, picked the pocket, and somehow got it to Karam off of John Wade III's lower body. to get possession for the Cardinals on the far baseline. Wansey open. Booyah! Far side corner, fading jumper. That's the Gorosito we know. Cardinals lead at 12-10.
Yeah, not only fading, but off of one leg. And for a guy who's shooting over 40% from beyond the arc, are you really surprised? Wansey Gorosito is ridiculous.
That he is. The mullet man took me back in time. Looked like Paul Pierce on the fadeaway. Now it has Southern Miss with a corner try of their own. There's the answer. Alfred Worrell Jr. says, I don't need to move my base. It was a simple open look in the far corner. That has the Eagles back on top. Call it 13-12 with 11.5 to go in frame number 1.
Worrell Jr., first season at Southern Miss, coming from a community college, much like Fat Hill, and he's also been transitioning well to the D1 game, as you saw right there with the corner 3.
Ball State is going to be signaled for their first foul on the offensive end. Peyton Sparks got the moving screen violation, which will send us to another break. It's Golden Eagles 13, Cardinals 12 with 11:28 to go in half number 1. Possession of the basketball will be with Southern Miss when we're back on SportsLink Digital Radio, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
Whether you're getting ready for the big game or getting ready for the workday, you always want to start with confidence. Cintas has the essential products and services to help businesses provide a clean, safe environment for their employees and customers. With routine restocking of essential cleaning, hygiene, and safety supplies, on-site cleaning, professional uniform laundering, and testing and inspection of fire equipment and systems. Give everyone the confidence they need to start their day. Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
The Hampton Inn of Muncie is the official partner of Ball State Athletics. Ask about our Ball State special, available to all Cardinal fans. The Hampton Inn is one of Muncie's finest hotels. Come enjoy our free breakfast, free Wi-Fi, and fresh Hampton beds waiting for you. Less than a mile away from Ball State campus. Don't forget to ask about our Ball State special. Search Hampton Inn of Muncie online at munciesuites.hamptoninn.com. At munciesuites.hamptoninn.com.
It's a Ball State lead. A Southern Mississippi lead, 13-12 off of the deep corner 3 from Alfred Worrell Jr. It answered what Wansey was able to do in the far side corner himself. Leading scorer for the Cardinals to this point, Jamari Fat Hill, who has been on the bench for the past couple of minutes. He's got 5. As for the Golden Eagles, it's been much more spread. They have 3 guys with 3 tallies apiece, and Alvarez, Worrell Jr., and Montgomery. Roen, what jumps out to me when looking at the team stats to this point, Ball State 11 rebounds, Southern Miss 8, but it's really what's been happening on the offensive glass. 4-2 in favor of the gray and red. Ball State has brought their physicality and their A game to the paint through about 9 minutes of action.
And that was what they needed to do. Southern Miss, they're a team, they've quite a few weaknesses, but the one strength of theirs is rebounding, and it goes hand in hand, I should say, with how big of a team they are, because not only do you got Denijay Harris and DeAnthony Gordon in the starting lineup, but off of the bench, the freshman and Christian Reed, that's a guy I've been very impressed with. And what I really like about Southern Miss with their big men is that all of them can somewhat play the perimeter. And it's going to be hard to win that rebounding battle, especially on the offensive glass when you have a bruiser like Peyton Sparks, but also Mason Jones, what he's been doing on the offensive glass, which is his overall effort has been astounding to me as a Ball State viewer.
Out of the break, Ball State trots out the same 5. It's Gorosito, Sparks, Hernandez, Jones, and Hart. The 5 for Ball State. For Southern Miss, who possesses the basketball, it is Worrell Jr., Gordon, Wade, Montgomery, and Harris. As the ball was tried to be passed down low off of a Cardinal kind of haphazardly, it leads to a far side inbound incoming with Worrell Jr. Trying to go over the top. Great perimeter defense from Gorosito, but they are able to find Wade, which has the ISO. He'll quickly give up to Gordon. Didn't want that test. Instead, it's a deep 3 on Sparks defender. They find the mismatch in Barry. Kobe Montgomery was able to get a step on Sparks, who wasn't quick on the perimeter. It's his 6th point of the outing. Eagles' biggest lead now 16-12 with exactly 11 to go in quarter number 1. Inside, Sparks able to find the answer after his defensive miscue. He pulls it back within 2. So with 10:50 to go in the first half, it's Eagles Eagles 16, Cardinals 14.
If you're not covering Peyton Sparks like a blanket, if you give him just the slightest bit of breathing room, he is going to come back to bite you.
Now Sparks plays some good defense. Gordon tried to go all the way, but big man number 5 was able to make an influence, and it gives Ball State possession. Gorosito bouncing pass to the corner, winds up going around the horn, around the far side now. Mason Jones to Hernandez. Great ball movement, finding the open man near corner. Hart gives him the lead. Stabbed it through the nylon, 17-16. Cardinals on top with 10-17 to go in half number 1. On the other end, it's some sloppy dribbling. It's a fight for the basketball. Mason Jones, other way. Bang! He rocks the rim, and the Cardinals lead at 19-16. It's going to force a timeout from the pocket of Southern Miss.
Yeah, I think it was mainly because we saw Alvarez lost something on the bench, goes out on the court, and there's a bit of a miscommunication. Oh, we have an injury. It looks like Kobe Montgomery limping off of the court. Hopefully he is all right. But what I have to say about Ball State, back-to-back incredible possessions. On the first one, Joey Hart, corner 3. You had 4 touches on the perimeter. That's what you need to do to get that open look. If the paint is all clogged like it was, because that's what you have with Southern Miss, when you have 2 or 3 bigs on the court like they do, the paint will be clogged most of the time. 4 touches on the perimeter, great corner 3 from Joey Hart. Mason Jones picking his pocket, going up strong with the jam. If you're a Ball State fan, not much more you can ask for in the last minute, I should say.
You're exactly right. It's possession with the black and gold. Have to hope all is well with Kobe Montgomery after a good hustle play to try to get back on defense on the Jones dunk. Looked like he tweaked his ankle and had to limp off the court. He's getting medical attention now on the far side, as that's a very ill-willed foul there from the Cardinals. On the perimeter, just slow to get there, was Jeremiah Hernandez, and it's a shooting foul on Alfred Worrell Jr. that will send Southern Miss to the line with a chance to tie things up, currently trailing 19-16. They get their best charity stripe guy to the line, shooting 84.2% on the year. He buries the first.
And if you're a head coach like Michael Lewis, that is one of the rare shooting fouls I would say you must avoid. Down low, you hack a guy, you totally get it as a coach. No easy buckets, but on the perimeter, that is when you have to be extremely careful of where you're at on the floor and how you can affect the shooter. And Jeremiah Hernandez, even just the slightest nudge, was able to get him.
He's getting an earful from Coach Lewis as he hits the bench on the far side. It brings Fat Hill back in, so the Cardinals lose some height but gain some athleticism as all 3 free throws are good. That's textbook from Worrell Jr. and ties us up at 19 apiece with 9:45 to play in half number 1. It's Mason Jones past the timeline. He'll give right back to Britton Watts. It's at the beak of Charlie Cardinal, leaves for Wansey, who's trying to direct traffic. Everyone wants to get the ball to Peyton Sparks down low, but good off-ball coverage from Gordon. It leads to Fat Hill having to go inside. He'll give to Sparks and then back out to Gorosito. Just too long. Things stay tied. Full court pass, quarterbacking the offense. Great finish. The second time today, Gordon has sprinted beyond the defense, and a go ball delivery from all the way across the court. Number 0 with good vision extends the lead now 21-19 in favor of the Eagles with 9 to play in half number 1.
And Ethan Britton Watts did a great job covering Watson on the full court pass. But again, when you got the size disadvantage with EBW, it's hard to do much.
You're exactly right on that. It was just a beautiful pass. And smart to lay it in after the last time the Eagles had an opportunity like that. Curbelo tried to get fancy on a dunk and shanked it. Cardinals catch a break. It looked like it was about to be a turnover, but scrambling for the loose ball, Gordon is quickly signaled for his second personal foul, which is going to send him out of the contest in favor of Denijay Harris, a player averaging a double-double this season. Call it 16 3/10 points a game and 10.9 rebounds per contest. Inbound is good. Gorosito, pump fake, sidestep. Leaves it short. Rebound goes to Sparks. Good effort on the offensive glass and one. Great recovery after Gorosito couldn't finish. He's able to find the bottom of the cylinder. 21 apiece, 8:52 to go in half number 1. Wansey barely left it short. Sparks leaves no doubt. He finishes over Harris, who had freshly subbed into the contest and now has a chance to complete the and one and give the Cardinals the lead right back.
And that is where, in the comparison of Harris and Sparks, that's where Peyton Sparks wins the battle. The overall physicality, when they're going pound for pound on the low block, that is usually where Peyton Sparks is going to win.
Sparks cashed in on the free throw. It was a 22-21 Cardinals lead, 8:42 to go in the game, 19 on the shot clock for the Eagles. The ball's with Curbelo. He has it ripped away by Mason Jones. Ball State starting to feel themselves, but Fat Hill wisely looks to slow things down. Now he cuts inside, changes his mind. Aaron pass back to Jones, who is wise just to keep it in front of the half-court line to avoid a violation. Wansi has it now, being guarded by Alvarez tightly. Moves off the screen from Sparks, goes all the way to the rack, tried to lay it in. That's not his typical look. Left it long off the window. Winds up out of play on a Cardinals, so they'll come up empty on a look to try to extend the lead.
And I like that he's getting outside of his comfort zone. He even went with a little finger roll, went with the soft touch to the rim. Just a little too much, oddly enough, on a soft touch play.
The fading jumper over Sparks is good. Denijay Harris from about 8 feet away on the left-hand side of the floor, able to elevate off the hardwood and finish through the strings. So it's 23-22, Southern Miss on top on the road, 7:54 to play in the first half. Cardinals go around the horn. They clearly want to get Gorosito involved in this offense. He's touching the ball every other pass. This is the third time of the possession. He'll give off to Fat Hill, step-back jumper. Left it short, couldn't get the shooter's bounce. And with the 1-point lead, Southern Miss heads the other way. It's Harris possessing the basketball, quickly giving up to Alvarez. He's face guarded by Mason Jones, forces the pass off to Christian Watson. Watson, cross court, finds an open man. Jab step gets Hill. Now they'll feed up top. It is Harris who is able to get it off a rattler from the charity stripe. 25-22, the Eagles lead.
And that is where, when we're comparing Sparks and Harris, that is when Denijay Harris will win the battle when it comes to more of these jumper-like looks. Peyton Sparks, most of his looks, if not all, are in the paint. Harris, he can move outside more.
Oh, that's a mean finish from Peyton Sparks. Puts a body to Harris. Shows why he's so special. Alvarez going the other way. Spin cycle followed by Hill on the way up. He'll shoot 2 and lead to a break. But partner, Peyton Sparks, just such a physical specimen. Went into a move and really went up with it as if he was going to slam it down. He laid it in a downward trajectory. It was almost a dunk as if he didn't touch the rim. Some weird Nerf rules that we're unaware of. But the Cardinals pull it back within 1. It will be Alvarez at the line to try to extend this Golden Eagles lead from 25-24 with 6:54 to go. I really like the point you made about the differences between these big men because it's been really intriguing to observe from our perspective. Denijay Harris, much more of a technician in his moves, everything so calculated. Peyton Sparks' mindset, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm better than anyone in front of me, and he's not afraid to go to the cup.
Oh, not at all. And what I really love with Peyton Sparks, throughout the whole season, we saw at the beginning of the year, let's be completely honest, he was kind of struggling. When you're out of the MAC for a year and adjusting to that level of play again, I don't care where you were, I don't care if you were at UConn, it's going to be a little tough, especially adjusting to new players on your team, all of that. But with Peyton Sparks, and I think it really boils down to in late December, early January, when he was coming off of the bench, this is where he truly found his stride. This is where Peyton Sparks kind of found himself, and we are definitely seeing the Peyton Sparks of old right now.
Vintage Sparks is out there. This break gives us an opportunity to ID the coaches a little bit so you can get familiar with the ringleader of either side. For Ball State, his third-year head coach, Jasper, Indiana native Michael Lewis. He's the 20th head coach in BSU program history, former Indiana High School Gatorade Player of the Year. He stayed local out of college, playing at IU under the legendary head coach Bob Knight. Many say he imitates that style. As prior to Ball State, Lewis spent 18 seasons as an assistant coach, most recently 3 at UCLA, where he played a key role in the development of Tiger Campbell, Jaime Vasquez Jr., and Johnny Juzang.
Oh yeah, that UCLA team, remember, that was a first 4 team that made it to the Final Four. And even though Coach Lewis wasn't necessarily a part of that team at the moment, he definitely contributed with his development of those key players like Juzang and Campbell.
On the other side, the coach sending a man to the stripe is Jay Ladner. It's his 6th year, a former Southern Miss student athlete, now turned head coach. He won the Jeff Gottfried Sun Belt Coach of the Year award in 2023, and really just such an inspiring story. For those unfamiliar, he suffered a heart attack last season, mere days before a scheduled game on February 7th. He'd ultimately nurse himself back to health and come back to coach his group in the SBC tournament. He is a heck of a leader with the 511 and 189 all-time record as a high school coach. Now he's bringing the same success to Southern Miss, where his Alvarez was able to get both to extend the lead to 27-24.
Yeah, and that's when something like that happens. That's when players start to rally. This is when players start to rally around their coach, rally around a guy who's been a father figure for a lot of guys, and that made Southern Miss a better team throughout the stretch.
Britton Watts blocked for the Cardinals. No look pass from Alvarez and a crazy finish from Denijay Harris. It was a no-look scoop under the belt that was snagged out of the sky from the 6'7" graduate forward. And this Southern Miss team is flying around. Alvarez pokes one out of play on the other side. Possession will stick with the Cards, but that was a seriously athletic slam rising above Mickey Pearson down low.
Hey, Sports Center, are you seeing this? Alvarez no-look pass and then the tough jam from Denijay Harris doesn't get much better than that.
As the Eagles up 5, Sparks has other plans. His pump is able to get Harris to jump, and he has an easy left-handed lay-in to get the Cards 3 steps closer. They trail 29-26 with 6:10 to play in this first half.
You know, Peyton Sparks, he's very physical down low, but at most times, he'll just put a soft little touch. That's all he needs to do. Nothing too flashy.
As here's the other side's big man. Harris finds the open man outside. You bet. Christian Watson silences the crowd with a deep 3 ball from the dead center of the key. And as the Eagles up 32-26 with 5:40 to play in half number 1, Ethan Britton Watts leaves a bouncer to Gorosito. Goes without saying, this is a big-time possession for the Cards. That Fat Hill errantly throws a pass over on. It's stolen by Southern Miss, who heads the other way. Thinking about a jumper was Worrell Jr. He opts instead to get the offense in system. Feeling himself. Deep tray, no good from Watson. Rebound goes to Gorosito. With his parents in attendance all the way from Argentina. He's got the rock in his left hand. Good move. Top of the key. Leaves it short. Mickey Pearson put back no. It's going to wind up out on number 3 for the Cards, so they'll come up empty on this possession and opt to bring in Jeremiah Hernandez and Joey Hart in favor of Fat Hill and Juan C. Gorosito. As for the Eagles, subbing in is Montgomery. To the bench goes Worrell Jr.
And with Mickey Pearson, although unable to come home with that board, he has been very underrated down low. Early on in the season, when Peyton Spark was kind of finding his groove, Mickey Pearson was the leading rebounder for this team, which is kind of funny to think about.
As it's a deep 2 that missed really poorly from Denijay Harris. He chased his own shot, knew it wasn't going down, but ultimately the Cardinals able to box him out and watch it find the red on the baseline to send possession left to right with the team rocking their gray alternate jerseys. For the Cardinals, it's Britton Watts possessing the ball. Now under 5 to go in this first half. It's Golden Eagles 32, Cardinals 26 from John E. Worthen Arena. Hernandez has it right wing. His pocket is picked from behind by Curbelo, who is targeted on a down court pass, but fortunately for him, it's poked out as it was left well short.
And this is how smart Curbelo is. On that full court pass, he has a man behind him, and you can tell that is touched by a Cardinal before him. And the moment it's touched by that Cardinal, he puts his hands back and doesn't do a thing.
24 on the shot clock. Curbelo has it far side. Errant pass ultimately gets tipped into the hands of Jeremiah Hernandez as it was too much for Montgomery to handle. Other side, 3 ball. Pearson leaves it just shy. Now it's Alvarez. Bounce pass, nifty, down low. Trying to work on Pearson, but he's blocked. Watson couldn't finish. Sparks winds up with the ball. Bouncer to Hernandez. He'll go to the rack and finish for 2.
Great job by Jeremiah Hernandez. Curbelo did the right thing there. He was setting up for a potential charge. Hernandez had enough time to work around him to get to the cup.
And that's a rare fault from Curbelo. He was on the near side, assumed he had Alvarez in the corner, but just sent a bouncer well out of play that will give the Cardinals possession in a big moment. That's a turnover by number 11. The former Big Ten Sixth Man of the Year as a freshman at the University of Illinois, shaking his head, heading to the backcourt as it is now Cardinals basketball with a fresh face into the contest in TJ Birch, who possesses things up top. They'll have him run the floor with both Hill and Gorosito struggling. He's going to try a jumper. He's blocked from behind by Curbelo. Good answer. In transition, Southern Miss finding their style and finish. It's competitive near the rack. Christian Watson uses every bit of that size. He's now the leading scorer in this one with 7. It's Golden Eagles 34, Ball State 28 with 3:30 to go. Driving in, Birch can't finish, but on the offensive glass, right place, right time with the putback was Ben Hendricks.
And that play is not possible without TJ Birch, and he's such a spark plug when he enters this game, a young freshman who brings a lot of energy on and off the court. I actually got to catch up with TJ the other day in an interview that will be coming out soon to Ball State Sports Link socials soon. But however, TJ, just on and off the court, has such a big impact as a freshman on this group.
Very impressive. The shortest guy on the team, number 22, plays with a lot of heart. He stands at a mere 6'1", 170. A freshman guard from Dallas, Texas, was guarding Andre Curbelo as he walked. So it's now back-to-back possessions with a turnover for really arguably the most well-rounded player on either side. A couple rare miscues will give Ball State possession, trailing 34-30 with 3:09 to go in half number 1 when we're back on SportsLink Digital Radio, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
American Pest Pros is the official pest control partner of Ball State Athletics. We protect your home or business and guarantee year-round protection from insects and pests. Ask about our Ball State special, available to all Cardinal fans. Our pest control program is the safest and most effective in the industry. Even if you tried a different service and it didn't work, we'll fix your problem, guaranteed, or your money back. Visit AmericanPestPros.com. That's AmericanPestPros.com. And don't forget to ask about our Ball State special.
Ball State fans, who needs batteries? Your locally owned Battery Masters have batteries for cars, boats, golf carts, cell phones, watches, key fobs, pay-per-go toys for kids, and more. Bring your rechargeable batteries back to life for drills, shavers, dustbusters, and more. All Ball State fans receive a free battery checkup. Just mention Charlie Cardinal. Battery Masters is conveniently located on the corner of Walnut and Centennial, next to Mini Trista. Check us out online at batterymasters.com. Go Cards!
Out of the break, it is Southern Miss on top by a tally of 34-30. There's 3:09 to play in this first half of a big-time MAC Sun Belt Challenge contest. These two teams have not played one another since the 1977-78 season, where Southern Miss was able to knock off Ball State in Muncie, Indiana, then known as Irving Gymnasium. That's where it was played. Call it 95-85. They had played the season before. The Golden Eagles also came out on top, 71-58. That was back in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. They look to move to 3-0 all-time against this Ball State group that has other plans. Roen, it's been back and forth early, but I think we're on the same page in saying the team that's going to cut down on the unforced errors is going to come out on top.
I 100% agree with that statement, AJ, because Ball State, we've seen many looks, and it's most of the time these turnovers on offense, it comes down to trying to find Peyton Sparks down low. They'll try and force it to him. And I get it. Peyton Sparks, when he's guarded by 2-3 guys around him, he usually comes up with it, but it's not a 100%er.
It's TJ Birch possessing the basketball. Down by 4 with now just under 3 to go in the first half. Winds up far side with Hart. He goes down low. Ben Hendricks pump fake and in. Cardinals back within 2 on a nice pass inside from Ethan Britton Watts. Ben Hendricks does the rest. Both will fill out the stat sheet. It's his 4th point of the contest. Now with 2:45 to go, the Eagles possess the rock up 2. It's Curbelo on the right wing. He'll send cross court to Montgomery. Now in the near corner, it goes to Neftali Alvarez, who's guarded tightly by TJ Birch. He'll have to give off to Harris. Harris wants to find Alvarez in the corner, does just that, but Birch stays with him. Alvarez looking for any space he can find, can't find much, so opts to give it off. It's an air ball on a layup from Montgomery. Couldn't get through the pressure of Hart, who now possesses it the other way, left to right. Here's TJ Birch. Just in front of the beak of Charlie Cardinal. This is a chippy matchup between himself and Neftali Alvarez, neither wanting to give an inch defensively. They'll have to give off to Mason Jones at the left wing. Between the circles, it's right back to Birch. He gives to the near corner, open 3, but it's off from Joey Hart. The Cardinals can't buy a bucket from three-point land as it stands, under 2 to play in the first half. Eagles up 2 with the ball. Call it 34-32. Bouncing pass inside. Harris is fouled from behind by Joey Hart.
And going back to that last Ball State offensive possession, Joey Hart, he's gotten that look many times, near corner, Cardinals moving it around on the perimeter. We've seen that quite a few times, just unable to fall there. But overall, you have to be happy if you're Michael Lewis with Ball State's perimeter ball movement.
That you do. 23 on the shot clock, 1:47 on the game clock, and half number one. Inbound goes from Wade, cross court over to Reed, right back to Wade, who's fouled on his way up. That was a interesting play call that worked well. The Cardinals clearly caught off guard by it. So number 9 will go to the stripe, where this season he's a mere 5 for 8. He's only appeared in 6 contests, but these are the 6 most recent games for the Golden Eagles. He's carved out a role in conference play and hasn't looked back. He's been a pretty key contributor who makes his first.
Yeah, John Wade, the experience he has with this Golden Eagle team, and not just that, in the college basketball landscape, he's been playing for 6 years, and technically as a graduate student, this is his last, but I have a feeling he's going to find a way to come back for year 7.
Well, he goes 1 for 2 at the stripe. So the lead sits at 35-32 in favor of the visitor. 1:38 to go in the first half. It's TJ Birch being guarded tightly by now Worrell Jr. Looking for any inch of room he can slither through. Has to give to Sparks on the outside, who quickly wants to give off. Try to back down his defender. Finds the open man. Far side corner, Britton Watts. No, the Cardinals 0 for their last 7 now from 3. Full court pass, nifty finish, slithery all around the rim is Christian Watson through the pressure. As this team continues to excel in transition, it's 37-32, Golden Eagles on top.
How did Christian Watson work around that? Sure, he's got the mismatch on Birch, but he's just going to go up and under around him. It's insane.
Now Birch wants an answer against his taller defender, but misses far right. The Cardinals having a hard time finding the bottom of the net. Under a minute left in this first half. It's Golden Eagles 37, Cardinals 32. It's a miss from the near side wing on John Wade III. Rebound goes with Ethan Britton Watts and the Cardinals, who move left to right and pass the timeline with Birch in possession. He puts a spin move on Curbelo, and ultimately number 11 is called for a reach-in foul from behind and is grabbing at his left arm after falling to the floor on that try. Looks like he'll get up and try to walk things off. That's the last thing you want to see from either side. The talented Andre Curbelo clearly in a bit of pain as he looks like he'll be immediately checked out of the contest and will for Neftali Alvarez. On the other side, Peyton Sparks will get a breather heading into the locker room in favor of Ben Hendricks. It's TJ Birch at the line after the Eagles committed their 8th foul.
Yeah, and you really don't want to see that if you're Southern Miss or anybody. A guy who is an elite defender, and he possibly got injured by trying to make a defensive play, trying to reach in, and also his playmaking ability. But most of that we've seen from Alvarez today.
Birch missed the first of the 1-and-1, and with 24 to go in half number 1, it will be a timeout signaled for by Southern Miss head coach Jay Ladner. His group on top 37-32. There's 24 and a half to go to play in half 1. Roen, 6.5 seconds separate the shot in game clock. The Cardinals should be banking on getting another possession. The message has to be you're down 5 now. It can't be bigger than that when you get to the locker room.
No, not at all. And I think it comes down to with Southern Miss containing the paint. And it makes me wonder, sure, Peyton Sparks got a breather. Do you put him back in for this last defensive possession? And if you're Michael Lewis, if you go into the tunnel down 5, sure. But if you go in down 7 or 8, then that is not a recipe for success going into the second half. This is where Ball State can get any kind of momentum rolling going into half number 2.
The Cardinals closed as 2.5-point favorites in this contest. They trail by 5 on their home floor against a squad that had to travel all the way up from southern Mississippi. They'll look to find their footing here defensively, as the group coming out for the Golden Eagles, very similar to who was just on the floor, will be Watson to do the inbound. He'll likely be looking for Alvarez. If he's not there, it'll likely go to Wade III. The other two who will be on the floor are Worrell Jr. and Harris, as Curbelo continues to take a breather on the bench. As for the Cardinals, they've still yet to show their look out of the huddle. I'd imagine it's a defensive-first group, as with only 6.5 to go on the other side regardless, that's typically where Ball State would have to push the pressure and just hope something opens up.
Yeah, and that's definitely where you want to see a guy like Mason Jones, who I've been really impressed with today, not only defensively on the perimeter, able to force a guy's hand a different way, but also down low, playing physical, playing tough down low on the low block. And we do see him in that 5 out there. You got Joey Hart, you got Ethan Britton-Watts, Ben Hendricks, so my prediction of Peyton Sparks did not come true. And you have Fat Hill, and TJ Birch gets a breather as well.
Interesting group. As giving to the backcourt, it's a safe pass to Neftali Alvarez. Under 20 now to go in half number 1. Alvarez stands on Charlie Cardinal in no rush to get a shot off. He has the ISO with Britton-Watts. Try to drive inside, now surveys his options, passes outside. Big man Harris shoots a 3, no good. Mason Jones hustles to grab the board for the Cards. 3 seconds to go in the half. Full court heave. Here we go, Britton-Watts from the right side, he got it! Oh my Lanta! The Cardinals storm the court, how about that? Ethan Britton-Watts from Steph Curry range makes it look easy.
I wouldn't even call that Steph Curry range. That is a new range. That is a new zip code, a new area code. That is Ethan Britton-Watts range.
Wow, the 36.8% three-point shooter just made a miraculous shot to send the momentum pendulum swinging on its head. A 37-32 contest with 24.5 seconds to go in the first half. And the Eagles in possession of the rock somehow turns 37-35 as the Cardinals refuse to go down without a fight, and we will have a big one coming in half number 2. It's a 15-minute halftime break. We'll be with you periodically throughout it. I'm AJ Swiatek, joined by Roen Elbert, saying we appreciate you opting to spend your Saturday afternoon with us here from Worthen Arena. Cardinals down by 2, but showing plenty of fight on the miraculous buzzer beater from the graduate guard, Ethan Britton-Watts. You've been catching it all on SportsLink Digital Radio, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
Ranked number 2 in the nation for sports media by the Broadcast Education Association.
This is Ball State Sports Link.
Victory Honda of Muncie. We're not just another car dealership, and here's why. We stand behind every car we sell and are dedicated to helping our customers save time and money. All our pre-owned cars undergo a rigorous 182-point inspection and come with a 90-day warranty to ensure that you're getting a Victory quality vehicle. Plus, you'll get 2 years of complimentary oil changes and tire rotations. We're part of a top 15 dealership group and have an enormous selection of vehicles with access to inventory at over 45 locations. You always get more for your trade and the best possible rates with us. We have an excellent relationship with hundreds of lenders. Our exclusive Car Doc maintenance and membership program will help you save hundreds of dollars in the process of maintaining your vehicle. Lastly, our state-of-the-art body shop and certified technicians perform high-quality repairs and paintwork on most vehicle makes and models. Victory Honda of Muncie. We're not just another car dealership.
The best stories in Ball State sports, plus live broadcasts right in your timeline.
Follow us at BSU SportsLink.
The Hampton Inn of Muncie is the official partner of Ball State Athletics. Ask about our Ball State special, available to all Cardinal fans. The Hampton Inn is one of Muncie's finest hotels. Come enjoy our free breakfast, free Wi-Fi, and fresh Hampton beds waiting for you. Less than a mile away from Ball State campus. Don't forget to ask about our Ball State special. Search Hampton Inn of Muncie online at munciesuites.hamptoninn.com. At munciesuites.hamptoninn.com.
From the bell tower to your smartphone, anywhere in the world.
Never miss Ball State sports with SportsLink Digital.
So just how big is the Mammoth Pizza at Mancino's? How about a big 24-inch round pizza loaded with all of your favorite toppings? Made to order just for you when you call 287-1300. The perfect size for the big game, the next game, or any event that demands not only the best, but the biggest pizza you can order. And Mancino's is ready anytime. Call, wait 10 to 15 minutes, then head to Mancino's for pickup. Man, is it good. When a large pizza isn't enough, you need at least one Mammoth from Mancino's.
It's halftime from John E. Worthen Arena in this rendition of the MAC Sun Belt Challenge. The visiting Southern Miss Golden Eagles on top 37-35 at the break, behind 46.4% shooting from the field as opposed to Ball State's 38.9. But there's a lot of metrics that will tell you the Cardinals have a solid chance of mounting a comeback in this one. They're out rebounding the opposition on the offensive glass 7-2, which immediately will jump out to you. And then For Ball State, only 6 turnovers in the first half to Southern Miss's 8. It's not often they win the turnover battle, but that was our key for them to win the game today. And trailing by 2, that in their corner.
Yeah, and for Ball State, you look at the score, you look at them being down 2, 37-35, and you look at the offensive rebounding battle that they're winning right now, you may be wondering, how are they down by 2? I think it just comes down to what Southern Miss has been able to do with their guard play. And I'm specifically talking about Neftali Alvarez. We did see Andre Cabello go down with a bit of a wrist injury. Hopefully he's all right. He seemed all right walking off of the court. No status for him known yet for the second half. But what I have to say about Southern Miss right now, what I've been really impressed with is just the court vision. There have been quite a few highlight plays. Really, in this first half for both teams, what we've seen are 2 Sports Center top 10 plays. For one, the Ethan Britton Watts half-court shot to take us into halftime for Ball State. And also Neftali Alvarez no-look pass into a Denijay Harris jam.
It has been firepower on either side. So far, the big difference maker for Southern Mississippi has been their 15 fast break points, but Ball State has to like what they've been doing on the offensive glass. I mentioned the 7 rebounds on the offensive end of the floor. It's led to 11 second chance points of their 35 total, as opposed to SMU's mere 2.
Yeah, because again, with Ball State, when you have the physicality of not only Peyton Sparks, but Mason Jones, this kind of threw me off guard, and it really shouldn't have. Knowing what he's been able to do all season, Mason Jones putting his all into it down low, and Ben Hendricks, he has been quite serviceable in, we didn't really see him in the first 10 minutes of the matchup, but in those final 5 minutes, really, those final stands in the final 2 minutes of the first half, Ben Hendricks really showed his defensive prowess.
Yes, he did. The defense helped the Cardinals to 9 points off of turnovers. Southern Mississippi has 3 in that category. The Golden Eagles have been flourishing from beyond the arc. Their 41.7% three-point percentage is what has carried them beyond the Cardinals, who are just 3 for 12 to this point from deep. They've had the open looks, but haven't necessarily been able to finish them. You have to imagine that's part of Coach Lewis's message in the locker room. The shots will start to fall. It's about playing in system and generating the open looks that they've been able to garner.
I could imagine that is the discussion, and I think that's why Ball State is currently trailing by 2 right now. They are getting good looks. Joey Hart and Juancy Gorosito, both of them especially, have been getting great looks, especially on inbounds. And the third 3 was just absolutely ridiculous from Ethan Britton Watts from a different area code. But what I have to say with Ball State is exactly that. Keep shooting, especially with these sharp shooters like Gorosito, especially with Joey Hart, Ethan Britton Watts, because these guys, they're not going to stay cold for a full 40 minutes. Get these guys going and get their confidence up. Get some shots up.
This is a big-time opportunity to tune up for either side before returning to conference play. Ball State enters this one 4-6 in Mid-American Conference play. They have a couple of road games on the docket, and then it will be returning to Worthen Arena, as after today, they get to host Eastern Michigan and Northern Illinois, but then have to travel up to Toledo for an Ohio trip. And we'll just about round out February. On the other side, Southern Miss has 2 road games themselves, at Arkansas State and at ULM, before heading back home to their gym to host Coastal Carolina, Louisiana, South Alabama, and Troy on a 4-game stretch.
And yeah, and for both teams, they have to realize how important these games are. Even this game, a non-conference game, because right now we're looking at a Southern Miss team currently sitting at 10th in the Sun Belt. They are fighting, they are vying for a spot in the Sun Belt tournament. Ball State, on the other hand, they're 8th right now in the MAC, and only 8 teams get into the MAC tournament. They are right there on the brink. They are on the fringe. So Coach Lewis, I'm sure he has emphasized to his players, I'm sure Jay Ladner has emphasized to his Golden Eagles that, hey, every game matters.
Both teams entered today fresh off of a loss. Southern Miss lost in a heartbreaking accord after leading 58-55 with under a minute to play against App State. They'd lose on a buzzer-beating dunk from C.J. Huntley in a heartbreaking accord. As for the Cardinals, they kept things close with the Akron Zips. Were only down a couple of points at the half, but Akron too much for the Cardinals. They pulled away. So this is a good chance for both teams to get on track, and it's in striking distance for either side. It's Golden Eagles 37, Cardinals 35 with just about 6 minutes to go in the break. We'll be back one more time in halftime. Then you will have to join us for half number 2, as if it was anything like the first, you can expect plenty more fireworks from SportsLink Digital Radio, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
Ranked number 2 in the nation for sports media by the Broadcast Education Association.
This is Ball State Sports Link.
Victory Honda of Muncie. We're not just another car dealership, and here's why. We stand behind every car we sell and are dedicated to helping our customers save time and money. All our pre-owned cars undergo a rigorous 182-point inspection and come with a 90-day warranty to ensure that you're getting a Victory quality vehicle. Plus, you'll get 2 years of complimentary oil changes and tire rotations. We're part of a top 15 dealership group and have an enormous selection of vehicles with access to inventory at over 45 locations. You always get more for your trade and the best possible rates with us. We have an excellent relationship with hundreds of lenders. Our exclusive Car Doc maintenance and membership program will help you save hundreds of dollars in the process of maintaining your vehicle. Lastly, our state-of-the-art body shop and certified technicians perform high-quality repairs and paint work on most vehicle makes and models. Victory Honda of Muncie. We're not just another car dealership.
The best stories in Ball State sports, plus live broadcasts right in your timeline.
Follow us at BSU SportsLink.
The Hampton Inn of Muncie is the official partner of Ball State Athletics. Ask about our Ball State special, available to all Cardinal fans. The Hampton Inn is one of Muncie's finest hotels. Come enjoy our free breakfast, free Wi-Fi, and fresh Hampton beds waiting for you. Less than a mile away from Ball State campus. Don't forget to ask about our Ball State special. Search Hampton Inn of Muncie online at munciesuites.hamptoninn.com. At munciesuites.hamptoninn.com.
From the bell tower to your smartphone, anywhere in the world.
Never miss Ball State sports with SportsLink Digital.
So just how big is the Mammoth Pizza at Mancino's? How about a big 24-inch round pizza loaded with all of your favorite toppings? Made to order just for you when you call 287-1300. The perfect size for the big game, the next game, or any event that demands not only the best, but the biggest pizza you can order. And Mancino's is ready anytime. Call, wait 10 to 15 minutes, then head to Mancino's for pickup. Man, is it good. When a large pizza isn't enough, you need at least one Mammoth from Mancino's.
It's halftime from Worthen Arena. The Golden Eagles on top 37-35, but the Cardinals finished on a 7-3 run, so have to be feeling themselves at the break with just a bit of time left on the clock. Roen, what are you looking for from either side if they look to captivate a win here from Muncie, Indiana?
If I'm the Cardinals, I'm looking to continue the physicality on the offensive boards. Currently out-rebounding Southern Miss 7-2 offensively. Continue that. But also for the Cardinals, as we touched on in the halftime break earlier, is just keep shooting the three. Sure, you're 3 for 12 from beyond the arc. You cannot live and die by it, but at the same time, it is definitely going to be effective in trying to get past this Southern Mississippi team. So for Ball State, what they really need to do, just keep shooting, keep getting the ball in Juancy Gorosito's hands, Joey Hart's hands, and that will be a recipe for success.
I would definitely echo that sentiment. It'll be interesting to see the group that either side brings out of the half. We saw a lot of points off the bench for both Southern Mississippi and Ball State. See if they stick to their roots and their cores or go with what was working. Just over 2 to go in the halftime break. Roen will leave our listeners with this. Points in the paint, Ball State on top. Second chance points, Ball State in the lead. But the big difference maker, only 7 first-half assists for BSU. Southern Mississippi went into the break with 13. How big of a factor do you think ball movement will play in half number 2?
It'll be huge, and especially for the Cardinals, because that's how you're going to get open looks on the perimeter, which is what they need to utilize more often. There was one incredible possession I saw. It was around the 9-minute mark. Joey Hart had a corner 3. There were 4 touches on the perimeter, and Southern Miss, they've pretty much mastered it already when it comes to their overall ball movement and their court vision, especially from Neftali Alvarez, who at this point, he's currently sitting at around 2 assists. But look at Andre Curbelo at 5. Both of these guards, and we don't know Curbelo's second half status quite yet with that wrist injury, but both of these guards, they have been controlling the pace of play for Southern Miss, and that is going to be huge.
The Golden Eagles have a dominant backcourt. They entered today averaging a full assist more per contest than the Cardinals. It's 37-35 in favor of the Sun Belt Southern Miss Golden Eagles, but a full half is on the docket next. I'm AJ Swiatek, joined by Roen Elbert. The next time you hear from us, it'll be time for half number 2, and we won't look back here on SportsLink Digital Radio, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
American Pest Pros is the official pest control partner of Ball State Athletics. We protect your home or business and guarantee year-round protection from insects and pests. Ask about our Ball State special, available to all Cardinal fans. Our pest control program is the safest and most effective in the industry. Even if you tried a different service and it didn't work, we'll fix your problem, guaranteed, or your money back. Visit AmericanPestPros.com. That's AmericanPestPros.com. And don't forget to ask about our Ball State special.
Ball State fans, who needs batteries? Your locally owned Battery Masters have batteries for cars, boats, golf carts, cell phones, watches, key fobs, pay-per-go toys for kids, and more. Bring your rechargeable batteries back to life for drills, shavers, dustbusters, and more. All Ball State fans receive a free battery checkup. Just mention Charlie Cardinal. Battery Masters is conveniently located on the corner of Walnut and Centennial, next to Mini Trista. Check us out online at batterymasters.com. Go Cards!
The buzzer sounds and either side leaves their bench. We're switching directions, of course, so it will now be Ball State pushing from right to left, Southern Miss from the near side to far side, left to right from our vantage point. The Golden Eagles start in possession of the basketball, and play is underway with a Watson dish to Alvarez as Southern Miss sticks with their typical group. Good sign. Curbelo is out there after suffering a minor tweak of the wrist. He possesses the basketball and gives to Neftali in the corner. He'll quickly switch places with Harris as it goes back to Curbelo now on the right side. Overhand pass, top of the key, jumper, Gordon, yes. The Eagles come out of the half with a quick make to push their lead to 39-35. That's a big one after the Cardinals enter the break on that half-court heave from Ethan Britton Watts.
And it shows the versatility, I should say, of the Southern Miss bigs, and DeAnthony Gordon with the jumper almost at the three-point arc.
That's a nice finish from Mickey Pearson. The pump fake didn't fool Denijay Harris, so he proceeded to just glide above him and lay it off at the top of the glass just lightly enough where it fell into the cylinder. So both teams with 2 quick points on their first offensive possession out of the halftime break. There's 19 to play in half number 2. The Golden Eagles lead the Cardinals 39-37 as Curbelo possesses the basketball and quickly dishes to Alvarez on the near side. They stay beyond the perimeter. Driving in and trying to finish, but fouled on his way up is Christian Watson. The first foul of half number 2 comes against Mickey Pearson and the Cardinals. It will send Southern Miss to the line to shoot 2.
And Jamari Hill, I do like the effort. He sees him driving to the rim, and I don't think he was intending for this to be a foul on the shot. I think he was trying to pick his pocket. He was trying to strip that ball out, but to no avail.
The first one good at the line for Christian Watson. The 70.5% free throw shooter plays into the metric there. Looks to make it a 2-possession lead with this one. Is able to do such. It's 41-37. The visitor on top. 18:47 to play in half number 2. Ethan Britton Watts now runs the floor. He dishes to Fat Hill as all 5 starters are out there for the Cardinals. Gorosito was open in the corner. Court vision couldn't find him, so EBW instead takes it to the hoop himself. Teardrop left short. Peyton Sparks offensive rebound is the 8th for the Cards today. He's blocked from behind by Denijay Harris, but it's out of play. So on the near side here, EBW will set up to inbound with 18 to go on the shot clock.
And what's great about putting a soft touch on that shot is Peyton Sparks is going to be right there. Southern Miss gave him a lot of breathing room right underneath the basket.
Gorosito off the inbound. Oh, yeah. Cashes it in from deep, pulls the Cards within 1. It's his 8th point of the outing. Called a 41-40 lead in favor of the black and gold with 18 to go in half number 2.
Again, like we've been discussing, the Cardinals need to keep shooting, and that will be the reward.
It's got to feel good for Gorosito. His family in town all the way from Argentina. He's left on an island, and is unable to tip it. It leads to an open look for Watson from three. He misses off to the right, but an offensive board goes Harris. He leaves it short on an easy putback. There was no one contesting, but he heard the footsteps of Sparks, and it allows Ball State in transition. Gorosito tries to do a bit too much as it ripped from him, and immediately Coach Lewis signals to Jeremiah Hernandez. That's typically a substitution in place of number 4. We'll see it the next dead ball, which will come right here as quickly in transition, Christian Watson was fouled on the way up by Peyton Sparks. It's his second, and quickly the team's second in half number 2 with 17:37 to play. And Southern Miss on top, 41-40. They'll have a trip to the line.
And a bit of concern on the other end of the court for Southern Miss. Andre Curbelo, who went down with a wrist injury in the first half. He's back in the second half, but he's moving a little bit slow. He was a little bit slow to get up. He seems to be all right. No substitution in place.
As expected, Hernandez does sub in for Gorosito, whose coach and Michael Lewis tries to calm him down. A no-nonsense guy. Wasn't a fan of the selfish play in transition. It sends number 4 to take a seat as Christian Watson looks to make it a perfect trip to the line, unable to do it. And the rebound goes with Mickey Pearson and the Cardinals, who move from right to left across the timeline. It's EBW again running the floor as Fat Hill moves more off ball here in the second half. To give to Jeremiah Hernandez, left wing. He possesses the ball and dribbles to the midcourt where he'll dish off to Britton Watts. Now in the corner, open, Mickey Pearson, yes! Cardinals lead at 43-42. It's their first lead since midway through the first half.
Mickey Pearson making it look easy, and that is a very high percentage look for him. For a lot of guys, that is not the best shot you can get. For Mickey Pearson, it probably is.
Gordon trying to pass inside. Sparks got the steal. He left it with Fat Hill. There's a foul on the floor as he was headed to the rack. It's a smart one. That will be called against Alvarez. Check that. They're actually going to signal it against Christian Watson. It's his first and Southern Miss's first of the half. But the Cardinals up 43-42 now possess at the baseline where Britton Watts is looking to find Fat Hill. Instead, has to give it to Peyton Sparks over the shoulder on the perimeter. He'll leave for Hill. One-on-one with Gordon. The ISO he wants. The lane cleared out. Fat Hill looking to go to work. He does a spin move. Wants to step back and wisely passes off. There's 13 on the shot clock. Hernandez tries to cut to the rack and ultimately loses possession out of bounds. They'll say it was tipped by Curbelo in that direction, however. So the Cardinals again keep possession on the inbound. This time it's Fat Hill to do the honors with 16:44 to go in the quarter. 11 left on the shot clock. It's 43-42 Cardinals, and it'll stay that way as Hernandez misses an open layup on a nice scheme play.
And that was the right look. Back cut right underneath the basket. It's one-on-one right there, just not there.
Here's Christian Watson with it. He gives for Alvarez, who shoots a moving jumper. The 3 left short, and Fat Hill grabs the rebound. That took a hard carom, so quickly the Cardinals move to the front court. Between the circles as a dish from Hernandez. Inside, Peyton Sparks barrels his man to the ground. There's a foul, but it looked like it came after the fact, and it did. As defensively, they're going to get Denijay Harris. It's his second of the game. And it will send Sparks to the line where he's 1 for 1 today and shooting 60.3% on the season. It's an improved mark vastly from what he did at IU.
Yeah, and D'Anthony Gordon on that last play got absolutely bodied. And you have to feel for the guy. It's like a freight train going straight at you.
Yeah, that could not feel good. Sparks is able to make the first.
If that's one that you're going to feel the next morning.
You're exactly right. All of the 6'10", 265 center barreled him into the floor. He made his first free throw. Now a chance to go to a perfect 3 for 3 today. Sparks does such. With 16:15 to play in the second half, Sparks up to a game-leading 11 points for his Cardinals. The only player with more on the opposition is, of course, the dominant Christian Watson, whose shot has been near perfect today. So it's Cardinals 45, Eagles 42, 16:07 to play. As Golden Eagles possess the basketball, it's Curbelo giving up to Watson, who's feeling himself, but opts not to shoot off of the behind-the-back move. Curbelo, floater, left short through the pressure of Mickey Pearson, but a good offensive crash by Denijay Harris, who's averaging that double-double this season. Able to keep possession. Now he'll go up with it himself off platform. It's another miss. Cardinals able to corral the board this time. Hernandez gives to Hill, who wants to move quickly. He's inside, through the face of the defense, can't get it to go. Went off of the front iron. And moving the other way with some pace are the Eagles.
Going back to the last Southern Miss possession, Ethan Britton-Watts played great defense on a mismatch on Denijay Harris. And Harris probably has a good 5 inches on him, and he has the overall strength battle, too, to his advantage.
Pass over the top, able to find his man, Denijay Harris, on the feed from DeAnthony Gordon. Just a beauty to spiral it over Jeremiah Hernandez, finding it to where only his man could grab it. It's 45-44, Ball State on top with 15 to play. Ben Hendricks has it inside. He's signaled by his teammates to go up with it. It's the right choice. Left-handed finish through Denijay Harris. Cardinals right back up by 3.
And Denijay Harris is like a brick wall. What Ben Hendricks did right there, just a little spin cycle to get right by him.
The nifty move from number 34, who sees Ethan Britton-Watts with a steal, and he'll just lay things in. That makes Coach Lewis thrilled. Instead of trying to get fancy in transition all alone, Britton-Watts just lays it in to push the Cardinals' lead to 49-44. There's 14:36 to go in the contest. Ball State has stormed back and then some. This team really feeling themselves, and it's the first time all afternoon we can say we've seen Coach Lewis with a smile on his face. He'll look to keep it there as his team doesn't want to wipe that from his face in the MAC Sun Belt Conference Challenge. This is a presentation of SportsLink Digital Radio presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
Whether you're getting ready for the big game or getting ready for the workday, you always want to start with confidence. Cintas has the essential products and services to help businesses provide a clean, safe environment for their employees and customers. With routine restocking of essential cleaning, hygiene, and safety supplies, on-site cleaning, professional uniform laundering, and testing and inspection of fire equipment and systems. Give everyone the confidence they need to start their day. Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
The Hampton Inn of Muncie is the official partner of Ball State Athletics. Ask about our Ball State special, available to all Cardinal fans. The Hampton Inn is one of Muncie's finest hotels. Come enjoy our free breakfast, free Wi-Fi, and fresh Hampton beds waiting for you. Less than a mile away from Ball State campus. Don't forget to ask about our Ball State special. Search Hampton Inn of Muncie online at munciesuites.hamptonin.com. At munciesuites.hamptonin.com.
14:36 remaining on the scoreboard. It's Ball State 49, Southern Miss 44 in this rendition of the MAC Sun Belt Challenge. It's the first time these teams have met since 1978, where the former Irving Gymnasium, which has since been replaced by the great John E. Worthen Arena, played witness to Southern Miss knocking off the Cardinals. They're 2-0 all-time against BSU, who looks to change that, and if they can hold on to their 5-point lead for just over 14 minutes, they'll be able to do just that.
And another thing about that matchup, looking at the head coaches for each team. For Ball State, you had Jim Holmstein coaching the Cardinals in that 1977 matchup. And for Southern Miss fans, I know you recognize this name, M.K. Turk.
Oh, yeah.
A legendary Golden Eagles coach who led them to an NIT championship in 1987.
With a name like M.K. Turk, hard not to be dominant. That just sounds like a winner. He was, of course, the coach of Jay Ladner during that historic NIT run that all SMU fans are oh so familiar with. But, Roen, I'm going to pose a question to you. There's 14:36 to play. The Cardinals are up 49-44. Last season, if Ball State was put in this situation, I believe just about everyone in the arena would confidently say the visitor would come back and win. This year, Ball State's new mentality of keeping height on the floor late has helped them close out contests. How quickly do you move to that taller defensive group? Because you don't want to play too conservative, but you also don't want to give Southern Miss any open looks as they have the inbound and possession.
No, I don't think you want to play conservative at all in that realm of things. I think you have to go pedal to the metal with that, go with your taller lineup, clog the paint, and get the W.
They do have a couple big men down low in Pearson and Hendricks. It leads to an outside try. Bink is not open for Kobe Montgomery, who left it well long off the glass. But sees a whistle down low as we're still waiting to see the signal. And it will be a whistle against number 3 in Mickey Pearson Jr. It's his second foul that will send us to another media break.
And another thing I find interesting with this matchup, Ball State, they've had trouble closing it out at home, which is very interesting to me. And for Southern Miss, kind of like what we saw in their last game against App State, losing on a last-second buzzer-beating dunk, they struggle to close it out on the road. The Cardinals 4-5 at Worthen Arena this year. Southern Miss 1-10 on the road, looking for that second road win. As a matter of fact, they didn't win on the road until January 25th against Louisiana.
Roen, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's a point that I've been waiting to make as well. 1-10 away, 0-2 on neutral floor. That's a total of 1-12. But you look at their record, it's 10-14. That's because this Southern Miss team is 9-2 when defending their home floor. The home court advantage could not be further from being a facade for this SMU squad. They are so good at home, have struggled on the road this season, and look to come into Worthen and make a statement. But out of this media break, they've got to find some offensive steam, especially knowing that the Cardinals will have possession.
Yes, they certainly do. But for Southern Miss, in order to do that, there is one guy that you have to get more involved. He's not on the floor right now. He's been a little banged up today, but Andre Curbelo, continue to play through him. We've seen it with Alvarez, but Curbelo, he can truly get these guys open down low, especially Harris or Gordon.
It is a 49-44 Ball State lead with 14-18 to play in the contest. The MAC Sun Belt Challenge will be back on SL Digital Radio, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie after a short break from Worthen Arena.
American Pest Pros is the official pest control partner of Ball State Athletics. We protect your home or business and guarantee year-round protection from insects and pests. Ask about our Ball State special, available to all Cardinal fans. Our pest control program is the safest and most effective in the industry. Even if you tried a different service and it didn't work, we'll fix your problem, guaranteed, or your money back. Visit AmericanPestPros.com. That's AmericanPestPros.com. And don't forget to ask about our Ball State special.
Ball State fans, who needs batteries? Your locally owned Battery Masters have batteries for cars, boats, golf carts, cell phones, watches, key fobs, pay-per-go toys for kids, and more. Bring your rechargeable batteries back to life for drills, shavers, dustbusters, and more. All Ball State fans receive a free battery checkup. Just mention Charlie Cardinal. Battery Masters is conveniently located on the corner of Walnut and Centennial, next to Mini Trista. Check us out online at batterymasters.com. Go Cards!
During the break, possession was signaled for the Golden Eagles, so they have it on the far side baseline, trailing by 5, and see a quick whistle before the inbound even occurs. So it looked like Ball State a little too chippy playing inbound defense. It will be the second of the contest against Jeremiah Hernandez, and now it is a quick inbound. 14-16 to go. Golden Eagles need a bucket badly. Good move from Harris, and he finds it for 2, elevating above Joey Hart at the MAC logo in the paint.
And again, Joey Hart, when he's one-on-one with Harris, that's a matchup 9 times out of 10 Harris is going to win.
Denijay Harris into the double digits, call it 10 points now. His squad trailing 49-46 on the road as the Cardinals look to add to their lead. Here's Joey Hart up top. He goes all the way inside, is blocked from behind, but a fortunate roll winds up with Hendricks, who finishes on the second effort. Cardinals catch a break. Kobe Montgomery with the chase down block. It somehow spun directly to Hendricks, who finished through the pressure of Christian Reed to give the Cardinals a 51-46 lead.
When a guy like Peyton Sparks exits the game, you can feel as if there's a void sometimes, but Ben Hendricks very quickly fills that void.
As Alvarez on the other side, looking to put one down the void. He gives it off and unable to finish and do such is Worrell Jr. Rebound goes to Mickey Pearson and the Cardinals, who are a dead ball away from substituting in 3 stars. Jeremiah Hernandez being guarded tightly by Worrell Jr. on the left-hand side. Still beyond the arc, he gives up to Pearson. He wants a triple. He got it! Number 3 for 3. Cardinals' biggest lead of the day. It's 54-46 behind Mickey Pearson's 8th, 9th, and 10th points on a big-time triple in a big-time moment.
And I love how Mickey got open on that 3. It wasn't really even a screen, just a nudge from Hernandez on Pearson's defender to give him just enough breathing room to nail that triple.
It's 54-46 in favor of the black and red, who sport their gray jerseys tonight. 12:33 to go in the contest. Cardinals on defense are signaled for yet another foul. They'll have to clean things up in that area, but it does allow them the dead ball they were looking for, as in comes Sparks, Jones, and Hill. Out go Hart, Pearson, and Hendricks.
And yes, I do have to agree, they need to clean up that. Considering that, I get it, we're 12 minutes left in this contest. We're 8 minutes into the half. Things around this time start to get a little chippy, but you need to clean it up.
Deep triple, wanted a foul and didn't get it as World Jr. was guarded tightly by Hernandez. Sparks was able to bring in the board.
And that was a great job by the officials, letting the Cardinals play, letting the Golden Eagles play. He trips and falls, but not to the fault of the defender.
And there is the whistle as Neftali Alvarez tried to reach in on Britton Watts from behind, got a piece of the arm. It'll get called every time. Ball State will have an inbound from the far side. Just beyond the arc, it's Britton Watts in the red paint looking to throw onto the hardwood. Looks like his first option was Hernandez, but he was covered, so it goes to Hill. Hill, bouncer inside, Peyton Sparks backing down Christian Reed. He finds the open man, Hernandez for three. Cardinals heating up, but that one can't find the bottom. What an effort by Peyton Sparks as he's able to get it to go off of an Eagle. Call it Christian Reed, who is fighting for that board with big number 5, and it went off of his lower half.
And now we see Alvarez exiting the game for John Wade, which is really interesting for head coach Jay Ladner. Now they really don't have too many playmakers on the floor. I wonder how this will affect the Golden Eagles.
Starts off by viewing the effect defensively as Ball State wanted to bounce one inside to Sparks, but it's a steal on a misread from Hernandez. Going the other way, it's Montgomery. He gives to Wade. Golden Eagles trailing 54-46, have possession with 11:48 to go. Backing down his defender. It's Ben Harris's night, but ultimately bounces one out and resets the offense with 14 on the shot clock. Here's John Wade III. Step back through the legs, passes it off. World Jr. down low. Able to get beyond the defense, but can't finish. He wanted a foul, won't get it. Ethan Britton Watts the other way. Gives up to Fat Hill. Euro step. Corner. 3-ball. Hernandez. No. He was left all alone and couldn't believe how much time he had. Had a moment too long to think about it. But the Cardinals catch yet another break as it's a loose ball foul on Christian Reed. His second straight lost fight with Sparks for a board, who has now single-handedly generated the Cardinals back-to-back possessions with second chances. It'll send us to a break behind Reed's third personal foul.
And that's the unfortunate part if you're Christian Reed, is that's one of the only ways you can win that battle against Peyton Sparks, is getting your hands a little bit dirty.
It is a 54-46 contest. Ball State on top with 11:25 to play, but plenty of hoops remain on the docket. I'm AJ Swiatek, joined by Roen. Elbert will be back after the break on SportsLink Digital Radio, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
Whether you're getting ready for the big game or getting ready for the workday, you always want to start with confidence. Cintas has the essential products and services to help businesses provide a clean, safe environment for their employees and customers. With routine restocking of essential cleaning, hygiene, and safety supplies, on-site cleaning, professional uniform laundering, and testing and inspection of fire equipment and systems. Give everyone the confidence they need to start their day. Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
The Hampton Inn of Muncie is the official partner of Ball State Athletics. Ask about our Ball State special, available to all Cardinal fans. The Hampton Inn is one of Muncie's finest hotels. Come enjoy our free breakfast, free Wi-Fi, and fresh Hampton beds waiting for you. Less than a mile away from Ball State campus. Don't forget to ask about our Ball State special. Search Hampton Inn of Muncie online at munciesuites.hamptonin.com. At munciesuites.hamptonin.com.
Rain continues to shower outside, but inside the nest, it's warm and toasty. Everyone with smiles on their face as the hometown Cardinals on top 54-46, but plenty of time remains on the clock, coined at 11:25 to play. Roen, both teams have a chance for a breather here before we get down this final stretch of what has been a perfect example of the intensity and atmosphere you can expect from the MAC Sunbelt Challenge yearly.
Well, first off, AJ, I hate that you brought up the rain outside. I don't even want to think about going out there, and it just makes me more appreciative of why we are here watching this matchup. But what I have to say is, yes, you look at the scoreboard, Ball State up by 8, but Southern Miss definitely still within reach. Anything can happen. Historically, the Cardinals, yes, they have let these leads go, but at the same time, you cannot let that define you. You can't look in the past. And what I'm interested in seeing with the Golden Eagles, as we saw going into the break, No Alvarez, no Curbelo on the court. We haven't seen Curbelo in a hot minute. Hopefully he's doing all right. He's been getting banged up quite a bit today. But for Southern Miss, really no playmakers out there.
Ball State inbounds, 20 on the shot clock. 11:19 to go in the second half. They look to push the lead to double digits for the first time today. Jeremiah Hernandez has it on the near side. He's wiggling through the defense, tries to finish through pressure and does. It's a swish that gets Ball State up 10. Call it 56-46 with now just under 11 to go in half number 2. The other side is John Wade III. He's able to get a stumble from Britton Watts, but passed it off before seeing his look through. The ball's right back to him with 16 to go on the shot clock. He works through Harris inside. Now it's a bouncer right back to Denijay, who tries to go off the window and does, and one. That's exactly what the doctor ordered for the Gold and Black, as this is a chance to pull it right back within 7 on a tough finish from Harris, who was fouled on a whack from Jones on the way up.
And Denijay Harris, one-on-one, he is so physical. And yes, there have been times where he struggled against Peyton Sparks, but that's just like, when it comes to Harris and Sparks, Sparks just takes the physicality to a whole nother level. When you got Mason Jones on him, there's really no chance for survival.
Well, the trip to the line concludes with a 3-point play. And now the full court press implemented for the first time today from Southern Miss. Let's see Ball State's plan to defeat it. They have the ball one-on-one with Hernandez. And Worrell not giving him any room. Going to be called for a reach-in just around the beak of Charlie Cardinal as Hernandez was starting to navigate his way to the timeline.
And Southern Miss, with these recent changes, they're going with more height, which I really like. They are matching Ball State when it comes to their late-game approach.
Roen, you put it perfectly. Tall ball on either side right now. As it's Fat Hill to do the inbound. He's the shortest player out there for the Cards. Only one shorter on the floor is the 6'4" Alfred Worrell Jr. It's lots of height out there for either side. As top, it is Britton Watts who gives to Hill. Hill off a screen from Sparks on the near side, cuts through the wing and goes right back outside to Hernandez. 15 on the shot clock, 10:23 on the game clock. At the elbow, he dishes out to Pearson, who didn't like what he saw. Single digits now on the clock. And Hill has his pocket pick. Possession goes the other way. It bounced off of his arm on a really nice poke from Worrell Jr. He was called for the reach-in earlier in the possession, but makes up for it with a big-time steal to get his squad in possession of the stone.
And like you mentioned earlier, just what the doctor ordered for Southern Miss yet again, these timely turnovers.
As there's a foul down low quickly. Let you finish your point. It was John Wade fouled on the floor, so possession will stick with the Eagles.
And yeah, the Golden Eagles, this is how you get back into this contest, and it's really what got them hot early on into the game, just being physical, not only down low, but on the perimeter.
John Wade does go to the line, as that was the 7th foul for the Cards, so it's a 1-and-1. The first is good. Took a moment for the players to realize that on the court, then everyone scrambled to the key, and Wade takes full advantage. He is 6 for 9 on the season.
And now we see Andre Curbelo back into the contest for the Golden Eagles, coming in for Alfred Worrell Jr. So now you have that playmaking presence alongside the height.
Wade finishes 1 for 2 from the line. The Cardinals lead 56-50, now just under 10 to go in the game. Fat Hill with it on the far side wing. He cuts between the circles looking for an open man. It's Britton Watts who he settles on. Watts has to give to Sparks deeper than he'd like. Sparks, a playmaker, somehow finds Pearson inside through the pressure above Denijay Harris. Headshot, Mick catches a head and a body. 12 points on the contest, 8 points the lead for his Cardinals on a gritty finish.
And when you're one-on-one underneath the basket, no one even close around you, there's not much you can do except just put it up, and Mickey Pearson did just that.
And there's what Curbelo brings to the table. Quick answer, he dishes down low, finds DeAnthony Gordon, who's able to finish off the window. 9:18 to play. Cardinals up 58-52. They have the ball moving right-left. But Hernandez loses it, and possession will go the other way. The trap works as Wade and Watson were able to swarm number 33, who makes a half-hearted choice just to kind of chuck it off the arm, and it ultimately wound up off of the arm of Watson, but last touched by the elbow of Hernandez on the ricochet. That gives the Golden Eagles the ball with 9:13 to play, trailing 58-52 on the road.
You don't see that too often where they bring the soft press at half court, but the moment the Cardinals get across the timeline, attack and trap. You just don't see that too often. Genius by Jay Arnold.
That is Jay Harris off the pass from Wade. A little too long from the mid-range, and Sparks fights for the defensive board. Full court press again being pushed, but Ball State able to get right through it this time around. It's a pass outside. Britton Watts for three, too much. The Mustard sends it beyond that back iron. Now it's Watson with it for the Eagles, opting to slow things down, waiting for Curbelo, who finds his way from the backcourt to the front court and possesses it on the far side. He'll quickly give up. Elbow jumper. Gordon from 12 feet got it. It's back within 4. The Eagles with a few unanswered and now have yet another player into the double digits. It's 58-54. Ball State on top with 8:20 to go. Mickey Pearson has it on the far side. Thought about taking a three, instead passes off to Fat Hill, who spins his way to the MAC logo. Gives to Hernandez in the corner. He knows better than that. Contested look on Curbelo. 12 on the shot clock, 8 on the game clock. Pearson, three, yes! Deep three from Mickey Pearson. Good in NBA range, good from Worthen Arena. He shoots the lights out. Cardinals up by 7.
That came back to bite Southern Miss in a big way. They were forcing the three. The Cardinals have been dominant in the paint, so they were forcing a three-point shot, and it really did come back to bite them with that Pearson three.
Southern Miss needs a bucket. Christian Watson up top. He gives. It's another spinning try from the free throw line. This time good from DeAnthony Gordon, the graduate forward from Mobile, Alabama, where the Senior Bowl is held. Able to connect for 2. He's up to 12 on the game and has it right back within 5.
And I have to say, it's been a very silent 12 from Gordon. And same with a lot of these guys like Christian Watson with 12 and Harris with 13. A very balanced effort for the Golden Eagles.
Fat Hill gives the extra pass. Far side corner. Pearson wanted another 3. Doesn't find the same look. And slowing things down will be John Wade III. You're right. It's been spread scoring on either side. Not really a superstar show, but it's been very entertaining, fundamentally sound basketball from both teams in conferences where fundamentals are everything. There's 6:58 to play in the second half. The ball winds up out of bounds off of Cardinals, so it will maintain Southern Miss possession, trailing 61-56 from Worthen Arena.
Yeah, and at this point for Southern Miss, what I would like to see more of is go back to that trap. Sure, it didn't work earlier with the Mickey Pearson 3, but it's going to make the Cardinals uncomfortable for 1, but 2, it's going to force their hand into some awkward situations.
It is a media break with the under 7 timeout. 6:58 on the clock. Cardinals up 61-56, looking to pick up a big-time win before holding host to Eastern Michigan on Tuesday and then Northern Illinois later in the week. As for Southern Miss, they look to get back on track themselves before having to continue this road trip to Arkansas State and the University of Louisiana Monroe before heading home. It's 61-56 Cardinals, 6:58 to go in half number 2. I'm AJ Swiatek, joined by Roen Elbert. We'll be back after the break on SportsLink Digital Radio, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
American Pest Pros is the official pest control partner of Ball State Athletics. We protect your home or business and guarantee year-round protection from insects and pests. Ask about our Ball State special, available to all Cardinal fans. Our pest control program is the safest and most effective in the industry. Even if you tried a different service and it didn't work, we'll fix your problem, guaranteed, or your money back. Visit AmericanPestPros.com. That's AmericanPestPros.com. And don't forget to ask about our Ball State special.
Ball State fans, who needs batteries? Your locally owned Battery Masters have batteries for cars, boats, golf carts, cell phones, watches, key fobs, pay-per-go toys for kids, and more. Bring your rechargeable batteries back to life for drills, shavers, dustbusters, and more. All Ball State fans receive a free battery checkup. Just mention Charlie Cardinal. Battery Masters is conveniently located on the corner of Walnut and Centennial, next to Mini Trista. Check us out online at batterymasters.com. Go Cards!
The buzzer means the break has commenced. I'm AJ Swiatek saying once again, thank you for opting to spend your Saturday afternoon with myself and Roen Elbert here from John E. Worthen Arena. The reported attendance over 1,000. We're in the 4 figures as many of fans keep their eyes peeled for what should be a good one down the stretch. Cardinals on top, 61-56. There's 6:58 to go And Southern Miss will be at the line with a 1-1. After a review during the break signified it was a personal foul rather than a ball out of play. And this is who they want at the line. It's Curbelo, the 80% free throw shooter, who misses the first of the 1-1. That is detrimental. Rebound goes to Jeremiah Hernandez, whose Cardinals can take their time as Southern Miss backs off of their full court press, at least for the time being. And there's a defensive off-ball foul on Christian Watson, who got tangled up with Mickey Pearson.
And not only is the missed free throw detrimental, at the same time, it's rare. You just don't see that from Andre Curbelo, who is shooting at around an 80% clip from the charity stripe. And if you're missing your free throws in a tight game like this, it becomes much harder to come back.
It's Fat Hill with it. Jab steps, holds on to possession. Now gets things bottled up, and clapping his hands defensively are Watson. Tell Hill motivated to score this one on his own. Spins inside, leaves it short. He'll have to hustle to get back on defense as Alvarez possesses the basketball for Southern Miss.
Fat Hill only 4 points on the day, and the Cardinals on the season are 0-2 when he scores under 10 points.
They look to prove they can win as a team without their leading scorer. Entering today, Hill averaged 16.4 a contest. Safe to say he won't reach that mark, barring a big comeback as Pearson tried the back stab. Thought he was able to get all ball, but they'll say he got the hand of a spinning Christian Watson at the top of the key, which is a reach and foul and a big one as it sends the 70% free throw shooter, junior guard from Lanham, Maryland, to the line for a 1-1 yet again. It's the third trip of 1-1s for the black and gold in this second half. The Cardinals have yet to get there as the personal fouls read 9-6, with Ball State having committed 3 more, yet they still lead 61-56 with 6:10 to go.
Again, for the Cardinals, sure, you're up by 5, but you need to be able to get to the free throw line like Southern Miss has been able to.
Again, the first of the 1-1 misses.
And you can't be missing your free throws, especially when you're down by 5. You had the missed free throw from Curbelo and now a missed free throw from Watson. What is going on?
It's called the free throw line, the charity stripe. That's because those are supposed to be automatic in this moment. SMU would love to have each of those back, but can't. Gorosito bounces down low to Sparks, who has to save it after having it nearly ripped away from him. Just barely able to stay inbounds with possession. Swings it for Pearson. This is very tight defense with 1 on the shot clock. Pearson forced just to do a spinning fadeaway that was well off the iron. Winds up bouncing out of play on the near side into the red paint. And Ball State will have to head back to play defense with 5:37 to go and a 5-point lead in their back pocket.
Yes, Sparks running full steam ahead into the front row. I saw a few people, it looks like they have goosebumps just from him being right there running full steam ahead like a freight train towards them.
Scary sight for your average fan. Ultimately, no collision occurred. Instead, it's Harris on the other side. Through pressure, he thought he was hooked. Either way, he finished. And it's a one-possession game. Ball State leads 61-58. Ethan Britton-Watts gets it past the timeline. Bad pass forces Gorosito to just throw one, and he is very fortunate. That got tangled up in the legs of Gordon. Wanted to find Sparks, but when you have a big man, don't really want to throw it at his feet. This is a sloppy start to this possession, but with 5:09 to go and 21 on the shot clock, the Cardinals very fortunate to hold on to possession with a 61-58 lead in their favor, and an inbound ready from the far side of the baseline here on the near court. Britton-Watts finds Pearson, left alone, down low, he finishes. Great backdoor cut to get the lead back to 5. He's this contest's leading scorer up to 17.
And that's why I like to call it the speed test on the inbound. Who is going to get to the cup first? Will it be Harris or Pearson? Mickey Pearson just a touch early on that, gets ahead of Harris for the easy 2.
Harris looks for an answer the other way. Double pump through Pearson. Both sides now have scored 2, and Coach Lewis is furious as both big men up to 17 on the game. It's really been that battle. We expected to watch Harris versus Sparks. It's turned into Harris versus Pearson here as Mickey has been big from beyond the arc. Under 4.5 to play. It's an errant pass that yet again Ball State catches a break on. Britton-Watts just rifled it as hard as he could backwards to Gorosito, who is at least 6 feet beyond the arc. Bounced off of his head, then off his defender's arm and out of play. The Cardinals, lucky there, is with exactly half the shot clock dribbled away and 4:27 to go in the game. They're up by 3 with possession of the ball. Gorosito gets it on the inbound. He'll reset the offense, give up to Ethan Britton-Watts, who thought about going around the horn, but instead is going to try to take it to the rack himself and does. Nifty jelly finish right through the tooth of the defense as the Cardinals continue to find answers.
And it's very rare, especially with a team as big as Southern Miss, that you see a hole that big to drive into. Ethan Britton-Watts took full advantage of it.
It's a 65-60 Ball State lead. Max Sunbelt Challenge. Still an eternity to go with 4:05 on the clock. It was tipped out of play as both teams are stifling defensively. But possession does stay on the far sideline with Curbelo, who inbounds and immediately gets a dish right back to him from Watson. He tries a deep three, heat check, no good. Offensive board does go to Harris, who falls on the basketball and will be signaled for a travel. That was an awkward way to hit the floor that will send us to our under 4 media timeout. So it was an offensive board from number 13 in black and gold, who ultimately had possession, fell to the floor and moved. That's a travel that will give the Cardinals the basketball, already leading 65-60 as they look to slam the door on a big-time win. There's 3:56 to play on SportsLink Digital Radio, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
Whether you're getting ready for the big game or getting ready for the workday, you always want to start with confidence. Cintas has the essential products and services to help businesses provide a clean, safe environment for their employees and customers. With routine restocking of essential cleaning, hygiene, and safety supplies, on-site cleaning, professional uniform laundering, and testing and inspection of fire equipment and systems. Give everyone the confidence they need to start their day. Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
The Hampton Inn of Muncie is the official partner of Ball State Athletics. Ask about our Ball State special, available to all Cardinal fans. The Hampton Inn is one of Muncie's finest hotels. Come enjoy our free breakfast, free Wi-Fi, and fresh Hampton beds waiting for you. Less than a mile away from Ball State campus. Don't forget to ask about our Ball State special. Search Hampton Inn of Muncie online at munciesuites.hamptoninn.com. At munciesuites.hamptoninn.com.
We are down to the home stretch, into the thick of it. 3:56 to play from John E. Worthen Arena on an overcast, windy, and rainy day from Muncie, Indiana. The Cardinals have been raining the threes in half number 2. It's helped them to a 65-60 lead. They struggled in half number 1, but a half-court heave from Ethan Britton-Watts completely flipped this contest on its head. Ball State has had all the momentum from that point forward, and now look to close out what would be a dominant victory that they could hang their hats on here from their home floor.
Yes, but you have to remember, 3:56, it may not seem like a lot of time, but there is plenty of time and only a 2-possession game. Southern Miss, sure, they're coming off a matchup against App State where in the final minute especially, they had a pretty solid lead, a 2-possession lead at that. Lost control, lost on a buzzer-beating dunk. But this team needs to be better at finishing, and what better proving ground than right here, right now.
Southern Miss taught Ball State that you've got to play till the buzzer. They're fresh off of a heartbreaking loss. Ball State looks to avoid being victim to something similar. As the buzzer sounds and we get a look at which groups will be coming out of the huddle, it is Curbelo, of course, down the stretch, headlining this group, alongside Alvarez, Gordon, Harris, and Watson, the starting 5 for the Eagles out there. And for the Cardinals, they go with something similar. They have 4 of their 5 starters out there, but Fat Hill stays on the bench in favor of Jeremiah Hernandez. The 4 starters, of course, Britton-Watts, Pearson Jr., Gorosito, and Sparks all on the floor.
And what I find interesting, the former Big Ten 6th Man of the Year, Curbelo, 0 points on the day.
Ball State has done a good job defensively. Now an offensive boost here with possession could help them to a win. Pearson finds an open lane and goes through the defense. He leaves Alvarez shaking his head, wondering how there was that big of a lane for the opposition. Mickey up to 19 on the game as the Cardinals lead up to 7. There's 3.5 to play. Southern Miss going to have to start valuing every possession dearly. Harris inside, he's stuffed by Sparks, who grabs the board himself. Peyton Sparks comes up big in the big moment. Ball State easily gets it beyond the timeline. And with 3:14 to go and a 7-point lead, no reason to rush. Peyton Sparks down low, dishes back outside. Britton-Watts wide open for 3. You bet! He kisses them goodbye. Cardinals lead to the double digits. It's 70-60 from Worthen with under 3 to play.
No words to describe that except this, the ball movement, even from the big man Peyton Sparks to find Britton Watts.
There's a good answer on the other end. Gordon makes the long two to cut the lead for Ball State down to 8. But still sizable with 2:48 to go in half number 2. Will force a timeout from the pocket of Jay Ladner and his Golden Eagles. It's an 8-point Ball State lead. They look to close out a big one in John E. Worthen Arena. We'll be back with all the rest of the content and coverage from the MAC Sunbelt Challenge on SportsLink Digital Radio, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
American Pest Pros is the official pest control partner of Ball State Athletics. We protect your home or business and guarantee year-round protection from insects and pests. Ask about our Ball State special, available to all Cardinal fans. Our pest control program is the safest and most effective in the industry. Even if you tried a different service and it didn't work, we'll fix your problem, guaranteed, or your money back. Visit AmericanPestPros.com. That's AmericanPestPros.com. And don't forget to ask about our Ball State special.
Ball State fans, who needs batteries? Your locally owned Battery Masters have batteries for cars, boats, golf carts, cell phones, watches.
2:48 to go. It is Gorosito to inbound for the Cardinals as the Golden Eagles bring on a full court press. He gets it to Hernandez, right back to Gorosito. Now they'll pass the timeline and trying to go all the way coast to coast. Oh my goodness, you can't draw it up better. Soaring above the defense, Jeremiah Hernandez uses every bit of that 6'5" frame. Double pump, looked like a dunk contest move down low. And the Cardinals starting to taste it up by double digits. With just 2:25 to play, they will be signaled for a reach-in call. That'll send the Eagles to the lineman. Boy, oh boy, the Cardinals beat that press and then some as they were able to push the pressure and pace in transition, leading to a big Hernandez dunk. He was the one called for the reach-in. It's his 4th personal foul. But he couldn't have picked a better time to reignite the crowd than right out of the break.
Hey, because the downside of running a press like that is nobody's in the paint. Hernandez had all of the speed to get by and no one really to catch him in the paint. But hey, that double pump like you mentioned, yes, it is a dunk contest move. Hey, next weekend in San Francisco, maybe Mac McClung is taking some notes.
He just may be. After the first free throw missed from Christian Watson, now fans have a reason to get into it. Another miss is free tater tots from Roots, but won't happen this time. He goes 1 for 2 on the trip. So Ball State's lead back to 9. Call it 72-63 with 2:25 to go. Again, they'll take the same approach of Gorosito to inbound. Swansea looking for an open man. Sparks has to come into the backcourt, and ultimately Coach Lewis needs to call a timeout after 4 seconds. Quickly went away on the inbound try. That was a great defensive effort from the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, that was very wise of Gorosito to not force anything like we've kind of seen earlier tonight. Not really in an out-of-balance situation, but just down low trying to force something that really isn't there. Gorosito did the wise thing. Hold on to it, nothing there, call the timeout.
So there's 2:25 to go. Ball State has done a good job of preserving those breaks. Still timeouts in their back pocket, a couple of them, compared to the Eagles, 1 remaining. Ball State has surged out to a 9-point lead. Look to coast to a big-time win that would push them to 11-12 on the season and drop Southern Miss to 10-15 before both sides would go their separate ways in returning to conference play.
You know, I really hope, especially with this matchup, I hope it's not another 45 years until we see this again.
You can say that again. Been plenty of fun here from Worthen. They have to inbound to Sparks, who is being left alone. Gives right back to Gorosito. He moves with a full head of steam to try to break the timeline and is able to do such after a couple behind-the-back moves. Now the offense slows down. Gorosito with it on the near wing. Over half the shot clock gone. 2:10 to play. Cardinals up by 9. Goes off the ball screen from Sparks. Wants to rise at the free throw line, but a good closeout from Wade III resets things. 5 seconds left to shoot. Hernandez, Fader can't get it. Sparks able to grab the rebound, and it looks like there will be a foul on the way up from Southern Miss. Jay Ladner not happy with the call. The 3rd foul against DeAnthony Gordon this afternoon, as Peyton Sparks is going to get to go to the line for a 1-and-1.
And Peyton Sparks you really don't know what you're going to get when you send him to the free throw line. A 60% free throw shooter, that's about as inconsistent as it can get.
Big start. He gets the first. Sparks now 4 for 4 tonight from the line. A third of his points have come from the charity stripe. The man rocking one light blue and one pastel orange shoe. He's been shooting it from the free throw line much better of late. You can hear a pin drop in Worthen. They try to aid Sparks and do just that. The Cardinal lead up to 11 after a perfect trip to the free throw line. Curbelo in crunch time needs to go full speed. He'll give off. Quick three-point jumper. Montgomery got it. Big moment to make the contested three over Hernandez. It's still an 8-point Ball State lead, but that keeps things interesting. Inbound goes from Britton Watts right back to Gorosito, who they're trusting to break this press. He does it easily. It's a pass to Britton Watts in the front court. Gorosito guarded by Curbelo. He's in no rush with a minute 22 to go. Curbelo steals it. Gorosito closes out on defense, but that is a big-time turnover. It's Curbelo in the corner. He's got a mismatch on Sparks, but still opts to pass things off to Harris, who drives inside on Pearson, and there's a foul on the floor. But they'll get on Mickey. It'll send Harris to the line. As the last two possessions, picturesque from these Golden Eagles, who are not going down without a fight.
No, great play by Andre Curbelo, not only to get the steal, but knowing that Gorosito had the right angle on him, so he really couldn't drive to the paint like a lot of younger players would want to do. He had to just reset and let it breathe.
First free throw gets a friendly roll off the front iron, then the back, the window, and through the nylon. So the Ball State lead now sits at 74-67 with 1:05 to go. And the second free throw incoming from the 71% shooter, Denijay Harris. Big number 13 from the stripe. Pounds the stone twice on the hardwood, takes a big, deep breath, and it works. He's perfect from the line. Ball State's lead down to 6.
And again, they go back to this press, which has worked at times. At the very least, the Cardinals are going to be uncomfortable and they're going to be forced into an awkward situation.
Gorosito able to beat the press. Ball now with Mickey Pearson on the offensive end of the floor for the Cardinals. Under a minute to play. Wanse, step back, thinks about it, but knows better than to shoot that early on the shot clock. Able to spin his way through Curbelo. Now 8 to shoot. Gives to Hernandez. Wide open jumper at the free throw line. Misses. 37 to play. Have to imagine Southern Miss wants one from beyond the arc. Instead, they pass inside. Harris left alone. Ball State smart not to foul. So there's exactly 30 to go. The shot clock goes blank. Ball State will possess the basketball on top 74-70. Roen, really good effort here from the Golden Eagles to make this more than a contest deep into the second half.
You have to remember, it's not over until it's over. And I'm sure head coach Jay Ladner instilled that value into these players. And what's next? It's a little too early, and I wouldn't say early, just in the overall situation, it's not the time to play the foul game quite yet. Overall, Southern Miss, they have a big opportunity here to get a stop on these Cardinals, and if they can make something out of that, then, man, this is quite the ball game. But Ball State, what they need to do here, avoid an early turnover. 30 seconds left. Shot clock is off. They can take their time. They can play conservative. That is what Ball State needs to do. Play the perimeter. Only pass off if you really need to.
The shot clock is off, as you mentioned, which makes things interesting. I imagine Southern Miss will bring out their full court press. Should Ball State beat it, they'll likely look to foul any of their big men and try to send them to the line. But Ball State likely smarter than just dishing one off to someone who struggles from the charity stripe. So it'll be interesting to see when Jay Ladner's group does decide to commit the personal foul. They have 7 to this point, so it would be a 1-and-1 for the Cardinals, who trot out Pearson, Sparks, Gorosito, Hill, and Britton Watts. The starting 5 back out there for both groups, as it is Gordon, Watson, Curbelo, Alvarez, and Harris for the Golden Eagles. Both teams going with their stars. Exactly 30 seconds to go. Ball State up by 74-70. It's Mickey Pearson this time to inbound. Gorosito open, he finds him. Tries to fight through Curbelo, gives right back to Pearson, and it is a quick foul in the backcourt with 27.1 to go in the contest. That's exactly who Ball State would have liked to see get fouled. Their second best free throw shooter, Mickey Pearson, who was elevated to above 83% from the line this season, will have a 1-and-1. Absolutely crucial, up by 4. You can extend this lead to as big as 6.
Yeah, the Cardinals really forced the Golden Eagles' hand that time around, making sure Mickey Pearson was the recipient and making sure he got to the foul line.
It was a wise decision from Coach Lewis, the former offensive play caller for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, to have his best free throw shooter be the man to inbound and just dish it right back to him. It pays off. The first one good. Pearson up to 20 points. The only player with more in this one, the Golden Eagles' Denijay Harris with 21. Pearson can match that mark here should he ring home a free throw, which he does. It's a 76-70 Ball State lead. 27 1/10 of a second left. Southern Miss in desperation mode. Ball State will back off their press. Likely just play from outside in here defensively. Southern Miss rolls the ball up the court. No reason to rush the clock. Curbelo picks it up after being met by Britton Watts at the half-court line. They switch. It's now Jones guarding outside, and fouled on the way up with a three-point jumper is Kobe Montgomery. It's the second time today that Ball State has fouled on a three-point look, and Coach Lewis is down on both knees, grabbing his forehead. He can't believe the mistake his Cardinals just made.
I get it. Kobe Montgomery, he's a lethal three-point shooter. But at that point, you just have to let him be. You cannot give him this type of opportunity from the charity stripe. On the year, a 69% free throw shooter could be better. But again, no, this is not the time for that at all. Really, any time is not the time for that. But Ball State, a crucial mistake.
And even more so, they did it without even dribbling a full 7 seconds off the clock. However, it's a big first free throw miss from Kobe Montgomery. Which the 6'4" graduate guard is going to need to get both of these.
Which, that's even better for Ball State, because now, no matter what happens here, it's going to be a two-possession contest.
Couple of big free throws. Oh, Lord, that one's way off. The fans yelling. Everyone just won free tater tots from Roots. I know I'll be there tonight after that news. But boy, oh boy, the Cardinals catching a break is a major understatement here. They fouled the 69% free throw shooter, Kobe Montgomery, from beyond the arc. He starts the trip 0 for 2, now just looking to salvage anything from it. Third look from the line is good. Have to wonder if it's too little, too late. Ball State still leads by 5, 76-71, the total margin. There's 20.2 to play in the game, as it will be Juancy Gorosito back to inbound again. They give right back to number 4. Curbelo tries to steal it from him, but he does a good job of finding Hill. Ball State milking the clock, able to find Britton Watts, who will ultimately just wrap up the basketball as he knew a personal foul was coming. And with 11.4 to play, Ball State up by 5. We'll have a trip to the line for a 1-and-1 that should seal things.
Southern Miss on the day. 14 of 22 from the charity stripe, and in a 5-point contest, unacceptable.
Ball State, on the other hand, 10 for 12. Honestly, unorthodox from this Cardinals team, who entered today shooting only 68.4% from the line. They've improved that metric in a single contest to 83-3, but Britton Watts misses the first, so the door open just a crack. Harris gives off. 3 try. No good from Gordon. Putback is from Harris, so it is a 3-point game with 2.3 to go, and a quick timeout is called by Coach Michael Lewis of the Cardinals. Should they get a successful inbound, this next foul from Southern Miss would send them to the double bonus, where they'd only need to make 1 free throw to cap off a victory in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge, something they couldn't do a season ago.
And that's really all Ball State needs to do, is get a successful inbound. That's all you need to do. 2.3 seconds left. However, even if Southern Miss is able to get control of the ball on a potential steal, what they need to do, be on the perimeter, and you got to throw that up immediately.
Be interesting to see the play that Michael Lewis has up his jacket sleeve. Always one of the most stylish guys in the building. When he's in attendance, Lewis rarely caught in public without a suit and tie. That's the last thing on his mind with 2 seconds and a little bit of change to play.
Yeah, when I was talking with Coach Lewis the other day, he came in wearing a hoodie. It threw me off a little bit, I will say. But I have to say, what he's instilled in this program is just great. I talked to both Jamari Hill and TJ Birch, and they both told me the same thing. When he was recruiting them, Coach Lewis told them both, "I will never tell you a lie." And that has been true throughout the whole process.
Well, he wouldn't do too good on the reality TV show Big Brother. But I'll tell you, stand-up guy in real life, to always be honest. It's 2.3 to play. Ball State leads at 76-73. I think the truth in all of their minds is they'd like to get out of here with a win to gain some momentum back in a pivotal stretch of MAC play if they want to make the postseason tournament. It's Gorosito to inbound. Full court press, of course, on by the Golden Eagles, who have no timeouts left. Ball State has 1 remaining. Ball State will have everyone line up on the baseline. It's a football-esque pattern. Spread formation, it's Gorosito under center, and there's an off-ball foul before the inbound even happens on Harris.
That's game right there. That sends Hart to the free throw line. That will do it, essentially, for Southern Miss, and you can't afford to have that. I love the play design from the Cardinals to run that football-like pattern. I'm sure maybe Coach Lewis, maybe last night he gave a phone call to Coach Juremovich. I'd like to believe that, but I doubt it.
Well, we can't get ahead of ourselves. Hart needs to make one of these two. The 75% free throw shooter just missed the first. So things are interesting, Roen. Can't wave the white flag early. It's still a 3-point lead for the Cardinals, who have already made a half-court buzzer beater in this game themselves. Should Hart miss this second try, Southern Miss should have an opportunity for a big heave to tie the contest. Hart from the free throw line, got it. And the Cardinals lead by 4. 2.3 to play. Curbelo going to pass full court. Cardinals smart not to foul. The 3-point jumper is good. I'm sure that meant something to someone out there as it pulls things within 1. And Ball State no longer covers the spread, but they get the win, and that's all that matters.
That's a bad beat. That is a bad beat.
Ball State up 77-76. That is the final score on a buzzer-beating 3 from Alfred Worrell Jr., but a smart job from Gorosito to back down, make sure there was no contact, and just watch it fly. Ball State wins by 1. They really had control the entire second half. Let the Eagles creep back in, but Roen, when it's all said and done, Coach Lewis's group gets a big win to move to 11-12 on the season and back to a 500 mark at 5-5 in Johnny Worthen Arena.
And not only that, taking home the belt. Sure, this isn't a non-conference game, and you may be thinking why it matters. Well, at this point in the season, the Cardinals really needed a litmus test. They really needed to test themselves on what they could do going into March, especially when they're on the fringe, on the brink of MAC tournament play. And that was the perfect example of what the Ball State Cardinals truly can do in this type of environment.
That it was. Ball State finishes shooting 44.6% to the floor as opposed to Southern Miss's 49.1. The big difference maker, the rebounds. Ball State did much better on the glass, 40 boards versus 31 for Southern Miss. They out-rebounded them 14-6 on the offensive glass. This game was tied 4 times, had 11 lead changes. It was all that was advertised and more. But when everything's said and done, the Ball State Cardinals get a big-time win. It was a full team effort as Ball State was able to have multiple players in the double digits. 3 different. Nikki Pearson had 21. Peyton Sparks had 13. Ethan Britton-Watts had 10. It was a double-double for Sparks, who, coming off of a MAC Player of the Week award, had 12 boards to pair with those 13 points. Also was vastly improved from the free throw line. On the other side, Southern Miss did a good job themselves. They were able to fight all the way back into the contest. They had 4 players in the double digits, as Harris had 23, Gordon had 14, Watson had 13, and Montgomery had 10. It's yet another double-double for Danijay Harris, who is averaging one this season, entered today with 16.3 points per contest and 10.9 rebounds per game. Only helped those metrics, but obviously he'd far prefer to have the W, which Ball State will walk home with.
Yes, and for Southern Miss, it has to be frustrating. You now fall to 10-15. You're on a 2-game losing streak. They've only had one time throughout this entire season where they've had a 3-game losing streak. They look to avoid that in their next contest. And the other thing for Southern Miss, going into Sun Belt play, maybe this is a wake-up call of what they need to do to get past some of the juggernauts in the Sun Belt Conference.
Well, for Ball State fans, it's a great way to ring in your weekend. They move to 11-12 on the season and get the MAC Sun Belt Conference Championship belt, something that they are happy to bring back home to Muncie after having it a year removed. Your final score is Ball State 76, Ball State 77, Southern Miss 76. I'm AJ Swiatek. I've been joined by Roen Elbert. It's been wonderful spending my afternoon alongside you, as well as all the listeners at home as the clock strikes 4:08 p.m. Eastern on this Saturday, February the 8th. We say so long from a rainy Muncie, Indiana. This has been a presentation of SportsLink Digital Radio, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
This has been a production of SportsLink Digital Radio.